Okay, ladies and gents, here we go with another episode of the BS Crew podcast. I believe this one will be episode 15 by the time it comes out.
I was just going to ask. I don't know what number we're on.
It's 15 or 16.
so.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure. But yeah, so today we'll be talking about one of our kind of conjoined favorite television shows ever would be Cowboy Bebop. I am joined with Tyler today.
Welcome back, gamers.
And then I'm also joined by Josh.
Yes, this is the BS Crew podcast, home of terrible audio quality and soy opinions.
Yeah, that's right, folks. If you like soy opinions and terrible audio quality, please click on that bell icon.
You will find it no better place than
Don't forget
this.
to like and subscribe.
That's
Check us
what
out
I'm
on Patreon and Ko-Fi.
Should we start a Ko-Fi?
I don't even know what that is. I just know that other people shill for it. So
Oh yeah, you basically get no benefits. It's just if you want to tip like a YouTuber.
Oh.
It's like, hence, so Ko-Fi coffee. So if you
Yeah.
want to, if you want to buy them a coffee, toss them $5. That's the thing.
I see.
But anyway, yeah. So before we jump into the Cowboy Bebop stuff, I know that there was some kind of like weekly catch-up kind of news that you guys wanted to talk about. Josh, I believe you had one.
Sure. Have you guys seen the leaks for the new Valve game?
I have not. No, please.
No, yeah,
Okay.
no. Please elaborate.
So there have been leaks of Valve's newest game, and people are mixed about it. It's a hero shooter with MOBA elements.
Well, anyways.
Wow.
yeah.
Daring and brave, Steam. That's
It's-
stuff. Or Valve, rather.
Yes. So imagine a third-person League of Legends. So like Smite, but it's a shooter.
Here's the thing, like Valve has, I feel like, a very good track record with their games, and like they always, even with like the VR stuff, they always do a really good job of at least trying to innovate something.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just,
How'd their deck builder turn out?
yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right. You
I'm
got
sure
me
it'll
there.
be fine, but probably not popular.
Yeah, maybe I'm just like a Valve shill because I'm thinking like Half-Life Alyx is like widely regarded as like the best VR game.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
everything else that Valve put out, given it was 15 years ago almost now.
Yeah.
Has all been like really top shelf stuff.
This is just in hot water right now because around this time, the whole like TF2 debacle with like how the game's just like flooded with like aim bots and
Yeah.
and every Chinese child is playing it with hacks and
Damn. Yeah. So how did it get leaked? Was it like an employee like accidentally posted something? Because like I always try to not judge based off of leaks.
Right. So I don't know how true this is, but it's actually kind of funny how it got leaked. So originally the leak happened because Uncle Dane, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's like an OG TF2 tuber.
Oh,
Kind of like
TF2
Jerma and Star. He got a build of the game, was just streaming it in Discord. No problems there. Someone recorded it, and it got leaked.
This seems like
Yeah.
the classified military documents in the War Game Thunder or War Thunder
Yes.
forums.
And so there's like gameplay footage and like game info about it.
Is it like release date type info, or just kind of like info is like, oh, this is what's happening in the game?
So it's called Deadlock, and there's like on Twitter you can like just see like gameplay footage of it.
Oh. Okay.
So like you can see their characters, and you can obviously tell it's a Source Engine game.
Okay.
It's clunky.
Yes.
Gotcha. So I'm hoping it must have been made on Source 2 though, right?
Presumably.
Presumably, right? Like that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably.
Yeah.
But it's just like something that's like, is this like cashing in on Overwatch 2 failing?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing though. So like the thing about Overwatch and Overwatch 2, I guess, is that it actually had a formula that like millions of people enjoyed. Right? So like if Valve can manage to make a game that can kind of like recapture that, like it could be something good. Like I'm hesitant.
It
Don't
could
get me
be.
wrong. But if you think about the things that like ruined like Overwatch as a shooter, right? Like it's not the game itself, right? It's all the microtransactions and no? Disagree?
So, I mean, all right, look at where we're at in terms of trends, right? So, Overwatch came out in like 2015, 2016, I think.
Yeah.
So that was like the hero shooter era, and then 2017 is when PUBG dropped, and Fortnite followed soon after it. So then we were in the like Battle Royale And if you notice with all of these, it's like someone else came out with it first, and then some like mega giga $1 trillion AAA company came and just like made the definitive one, right? So it's like PUBG started Battle Royale, and it's Fortnite and Warzone that we play nowadays. Like, who was it? Smite or Heroes of the Storm or something came out, and then Blizzard came out with Overwatch, so that was the one that was like definitive, right? So it's like I think now we're leaning towards more like the extraction shooter genre. Like you have all these new extraction shooter coming out. Tarkov was the first one. Now you have Gray Zone Warfare and Arena Breakpoint, and
Marathon's going to be
Marathon's coming out.
I'm very much looking forward to that one.
Basically, they're too late into the trend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You think so? Okay, all right.
Because that's the same thing what happened with their deck builder. Hearthstone came out, it was like explosively popular. By the time that Valve built their own deck builder, it was like too little, too late.
Yeah,
is that even up and running still? Or is
I
it gone?
don't think so.
I think they got rid of it.
I think they killed the servers. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I'm just trying to be a bloomer because I haven't seen anything of this yet.
Bloomer.
I'm trying to be a bloomer. Yeah. I'm just like, come on, maybe Valve still has it,
I think the problem is that Valve is too Valve. So it's like their company has no structure whatsoever. It's like you come in on Tuesday, you're working on, Half-Life 3. The next day, you're like, I don't feel like doing that anymore. You just completely change your project to whatever you want. And there's no managers, there's no nothing. So it's like shit happens whenever it happens, and there's like some minor direction, everything else, but that's it.
So how do you think that they could still operate like that? Is it just because Steam makes like a shitload of money?
Well, if you hire enough neurodivergent people who are like, I really want to make this game, and you just have all these people who like autismo power into like, we are going to make this game, it'll come out.
It's true.
When
it's
like
done.
At the same time, if you have all these people with like zero motivation to do something, it's just not going to happen. So
I could see that.
Like,
Plus the place is probably like 90% store developers.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah. Well, that's a little bit of a downer. I mean, like I get it, like for sure, like the hesitation with like another hero shooter.
People are basically just mad that instead of fixing like TF2's problems, that they're just making a new game.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. TF2 is kind of like that game's been like sunsetted for me.
I feel like it's been sunsetted for 5 years, man. Yeah,
for years.
Well, actually, kind of on the flip side, as far as like big like upcoming games, Tyler, I'm sorry. This is a Tyler-phobic conversation, so you need to forgive me.
I'll just munch on some brownie bites over here,
So so Riot Games is doing 2KXO. Dog shit name, but have you seen anything about the new fighting game?
Yeah, I would much rather call it 2KO.
I love fighting games.
Yeah, it's Tyler-phobic. But basically, they're taking like a lot of like League of Legends and what's the other game that they do?
Valorant.
Not Valorant. I feel like there's one other game that they do that's gonna have characters featured in it. Am I dumb?
It's a multiplayer gaming. People are playing Valorant.
Legends of Runeterra is League of Legends.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm being dumb.
It's just League and Valorant.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah. So basically, it's so Riot is making a not 2v2, but like a tag team fighting game. So like you choose two characters in your character select screen, and then you can like do like assists and ultimate like tag team stuff. So far, they've been showing off some more gameplay at it wasn't Evo, it was
Combo
like
Breaker?
Combo Breaker, yeah. So they just basically like a big fighting game, like one of the bigger fighting game tournaments. They just set up like a bunch of, again, the name was stupid, 2KXO fighting game counted. So a bunch of people played it, and the gameplay so far looks really good. It looks Marvel vs. Capcom-esque, but a little bit slower, and obviously only 2 characters instead of 3.
I'm excited to try it out. It's free, so
yeah. So the skins are going to be $40, but
probably that's like the Riot way.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think it'll be, knowing us, we'll probably play it for like a few weeks, and then
and then it'll just peter off.
Yeah, probably. But
I don't know about you, but circa September 5th, I'll be in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. I'll be ripping Stalker 2 all day, every day.
Ooh. Oh, is that when it comes out? September 5th, you said?
Yeah. Well, I mean, until it gets delayed another year.
Of course, yeah.
In their defense, I believe that their studio is in smoldering ruin. So,
no, I'm trying to think. Oh, the big one for me, and they just showed off a multiplayer trailer for this, was Space Marine 2.
Oh.
Okay, this is also Tyler-phobic, and I would like to apologize for that, because it's like the campaign, and I mean the multiplayer to an extent, is going to be a hack and slash game, more or less.
Oh yeah,
because you play
those.
Yeah, it's Tyler's favorite thing on the planet.
Yep.
But they just released after it being delayed for like 18 months or something. They finally just said it is coming later this year. Still no release date, so I'm holding my breath. But they did show off a multiplayer trailer. So the actual campaign itself is going to be 3-player. So it'll be 3-player co-op, and then there's also going to be 3-player kind of like an arena styled like PvE mode, like not like COD Zombies style, but just like, you know, kind of. Which, yes, yeah, we'll get to that because I know exactly what you're getting at. But then they also are doing a 6v6 like PvP mode.
Okay.
So they'll be doing like 6-based.
So like an arena shooter almost.
Yeah, because realistically, they haven't confirmed too much yet, but very likely they'll have like drops on the map for like, you know, the different war gear and stuff like that you can equip.
Okay, yeah.
And the customization also looks pretty sick. Because Josh, I think you watched that trailer too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So very high hopes now. It's looking great.
Is there a 40K RTS game?
So there was Mechanicus, I think. I don't know if it necessarily qualifies as RTS though. Is Dawn of War RTS? I've never actually played it. I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kinda,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's like a combination of 4X and RTS, right? Because like it's like
yes,
empire building, managing, and then you have these like local battle skirmishes things.
Let me see. Let me
Sorry.
consult the files.
My foggy brain was having this flashback. We
Yeah.
used to play this game called War Game.
Yeah.
War Game. Yeah, I think the one we played was European Escalation. And it was an RTS game where it was like, what if the Cold War went hot?
Oh, that's kind of cool though.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Yep.
And we were terrible. We had to play against like, you know, like the baby, like the Don't Hurt Me AI, and we would still lose.
Yep. So Dawn of War is the RTS. Mechanicus is like a top-down RPG,
Oh, yeah.
like Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I
Okay.
never know like what the categories are now because I
Yeah.
don't play a lot of strategy games because it's like
Yeah, I'm a cozy gamer.
If you're like, so imagine like if you're just looking over a giant battle and you like scroll,
Right.
if you like hold left click and
That's
like
Dawn
draw
of
a
War,
box
right?
around, if you're drawing a box around a bunch of troops,
that.
that's
okay.
like a RTS.
So in like the small scales, because I've actually been playing a lot of Mechanicus, I just haven't really known what to call it.
If it's like soldier based, top down, that's
Yeah.
like
Just
top down RPG.
Yeah, top down RPG kind of.
top
Okay,
down
all right.
strategy RPG.
Yeah, because it's definitely more like strategy focused with like because there's
Yep.
a lot of thought that you need to put into like the loadouts that your guys take.
RTSs
yeah,
are more
Yeah.
like
grand scale kind of.
entire army focused.
Okay, all right. Sorry, so you're about to say something when
I
it said
don't remember the
zombies.
name of it, but there's a like third party company that's like remaking COD Zombies. Have you heard of this?
No,
I have.
I saw that there.
You've
that
heard
was
of it?
re-
I have.
Do you know what it's called?
It's like Skell something.
Yeah, it's basically like, you know how what is it, Back for Blood really tried to replace Left 4 Dead and they couldn't.
Mhm.
Skur Ritual.
Scritual
How do you-
is it's turn-based zombies.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so they've borrowed quite a few of the features of the turn-based zombies, like I believe like the upgrades and the
Yeah.
finding of weapons and that kind of thing, like money from killing them.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's gonna be like a third party, like I don't think it's a AAA studio. It'd be like an
Don't
indie
think so.
take on
Yeah.
like the round based, because it's not a very common thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
You would think it would be, right? But
Well, especially because like COD itself has kind of shit the bed on it. Like they haven't released a true turn-based zombies since Cold War, which was in 2020.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say yes because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have not really followed COD in a very long time.
Oh, well.
But actually, they did for the new one, Black Ops 6.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me give you the spiel because this is at least like the fourth time I've had this conversation.
Yeah, you
on
probably
this.
know much more than I do.
I'm never buying another COD ever again.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Anyways, I can't believe that the best version of Black Ops 6 is only $150. Like, how much more do I need to pay to just win?
Oh man, yeah. So, a couple things about Black Ops 6 though. People are saying that apparently it takes place with the 9/11 attacks.
Yes, I believe. I thought it was like the first half of it is like Desert Storm, like like the '90s invasion
Yes.
of Kuwait,
Yeah.
and then
I heard there was a Saddam level. Yes.
yeah, and then like I think it ends with 9/11 because they're trying to set you up for. Basically, they're trying to merge Black Ops and Modern Warfare.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
believe that MW1 is like an alternative universe, like after 9/11, like this is what the U.S. did. So it's like Black Ops is trying to merge, the two timelines, But I do believe that the rumors are that Reznov is back.
No shit.
Of course.
Yeah. Nice.
The numbers.
No, yeah, but anyway, so as far as Black Ops 6 is concerned, it was leaked by a prominent COD streamer, if I'm correct on this, that they will be doing zombies again. I don't think it'll be like the top down, it's not going to be like a twin stick zombie shooter again, but they will at least be bringing zombies back because there's been leaked screenshots and whatnot.
It's Treyarch, right?
Yeah, because Treyarch, at least to the first
The
couple
only
Black
good
Ops-
developer. Whoops, did I say
Yeah.
that? My bad.
Oh.
Yeah, well, actually, switching gears, have you guys been paying attention to the Apple Music Top 100 Albums of All Time list?
I've not, but from
only
prior
looked at the top 10.
conversations. Prior conversations have led me to believe that it's sus.
There's definitely some sus choices. I think
The number one, never even heard of them.
Really?
Okay, that's a skill issue. I'm gonna that is a skill issue.
Who is number one?
The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill
I don't know who that is.
by Lauryn Hill.
Who's J. Cole?
Yeah,
Who's Lauryn Hill?
Okay, number 2 is Thriller, which is kind of crazy because it's not even the best Michael Jackson album.
So it's like, all right, but before you list them all out,
Yeah, sure,
I would
sure.
say that the things in the top 20, most of them are things that I would include in my top 20. I just don't know if I'd have the same order.
Correct. Yeah, I can absolutely see that. The one thing that really stood out to me, I guess, let me start a little bit lower on, and then we could kind of talk about like the more general issues. Because Tyler, I believe do you have some hot takes on this as well?
On what?
On the top 100 list, if there's anything that you think was snubbed?
I'm
or...
doom scrolling. Sorry,
Okay,
I have to find
all right.
it.
Yeah, I put extensive thought into this.
Okay.
Josh, this one is more up your alley.
Okay.
What-
One Tyler the Creator album made the top 100.
Which one?
Flower Boy.
That's
Wha-
a good one, though.
Yeah, but if you put it at like 90, when like Igor is right there,
Yeah.
I feel like Igor is a top 50 album.
All right, so let's.
That might be crazy. But,
all right.
All right.
So one was the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Is there like a single off of this you think I would know, or
You probably know Doo-Wop. That was one of the bigger ones, but it's mostly like late 90s, early 2000s hip hop.
oh, see,
But she crosses a lot of genres with it. There's
I'm not a huge fan of that era of music, just generically.
really
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Thrillers 2, Abbey Road 3, Purple Rain is 4,
I respect that.
Blonde is 5, Songs in the Key of Life is 6. Definitely agree with that one.
Yeah.
Good Kid, Mad City is 7. Back to Black is 8. Nevermind is 9. And number 10 is Lemonade.
Okay.
Don't think that belongs on the top
I
10.
do not think. Okay, so.
Oh, especially when Fleetwood Mac Rumors is number
Rumors.
11. What?
yeah, Rumors getting snubbed for Lemonade is a little bit crazy.
OK Computer at 12.
Also, 2 Radiohead albums made the list. It was OK Computer and then one other one, which I am forgetting the name of, was like in the 30s.
I mean, come on. You're telling me What's Going On is number 17? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think part of this is like I have a bias for like older music. And I think it's probably just because it's like if you're listening to it today and it survived 40, 50, 60 years of, the top 100 or whatever, it probably belongs much higher on the list.
I
Like,
can agree with that.
I feel like Apple Music, like a lot of these have a little bit of a bias towards like more recent music. Like you cannot compare Beyonce with like Marvin Gaye or Dr. Dre or the Pet Shop Boys. Like
I think there actually could be an argument for Beyonce if it was not Lemonade. So like Beyonce, I think had like 3 albums on the top 100.
what?
I think yeah, she at least had 2 because it's like Renaissance, which her album came out, which is I know that you're saying that's a bias towards recent music, but like Renaissance that came out a few years ago, I think is like by far Beyonce's best album. Like
all right. So the deeper you scroll, you're starting to see the ones that I would expect. Like you're telling me Dark Side of the Moon's 28.
I can agree to that. Like I'm kind of a Pink Floyd hater a little bit, so like I can kind of agree.
You're not a prog consumer.
No, I'm a prog consumer. I just like different. So like in the Court of the Crimson King, did not even get listed on the top 100, but Dark Side of the Moon did. I think that's like a travesty.
Discovery is 23, and then the next one's Ziggy Stardust.
Okay, I think
Like,
both of those
I-
should be higher.
Exactly. That's what
Are
I'm
we
saying.
in agreement there? Okay.
Definitely
There's some
Discovery.
really weird choices here.
Where's 1989 Taylor's version? I know it was top 20.
Yeah, it's like 17 or 18. I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
What?
So that's crazy considering that it is not even a top 3 Taylor Swift album.
18.
Yeah. So no. Well,
You're asking for it,
well,
buddy.
no. So we've talked about this, right? Where it's like I would not be surprised if like Folklore by Taylor Swift was in the top 100. I could see that in like the lower half of the list, genuinely, because I think it was when Taylor Swift has peaked creatively as a musician. You could, I see you shaking your head, dude, but I promise.
No, not what you're saying. I'm just looking at some of these other ones.
The list. Also, there is a severe underrepresentation of a lot of heavier music in there.
What do you mean? I just passed Metallica.
Yeah, that is the only metal album.
Where the hell is Dragula?
Yeah, exactly. Master of Puppets is the only heavy album.
69 and 70s NWA straight out of Compton.
Yeah, no. So I think, that's.
Wait. 9 Inch Nails, aren't they like
Yeah, they're more like industrial rock.
Yeah.
Like they're not like heavies. I mean, they are. They can be.
All right.
So, but they're not metal. So like I'm again, this is absolutely my bias showing, and I don't expect either of you guys to agree with me on this. I do think Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory should have made even like the lower end of the list on the top 100.
Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is 78.
Yeah, that's kind of trash. That's at least top 50. I think Bjork also should have been moved up because her album which one is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, whoa.
All right, Tyler's getting to some of the sus stuff in the lower half. I really I want to hear his.
Lady Gaga's The Fame Monster is 89.
I can actually agree with that.
I think that's the first Gaga album.
No, second or third actually.
In the top 100?
Oh no! In the top 100, that's the only one.
Wait, and Flower Boy's 92,
which is insane. Because like,
crazy.
Listen, Flower Boy is probably like if I had.
It's his most iconic.
Yeah, like it's his most iconic, and also like this is going to sound like an insult, but I don't mean it to be. Like if I needed to get my parents on board with the Tyler the Creator album, I would play the Flower Boy.
Hotel California is number 99.
That shouldn't be anywhere in the top 100.
What?
No, the Eagles suck. I'm tired of pretending. I hate the Eagles. They're not. They're completely overhyped. There's so many better bands from that era. All right, no.
I don't know. I feel like
they're not even the best band that's named after an animal.
Okay. What? What is the best band named after an animal?
I mean, if you want to go with the basic one, like the Beatles is there, but like, and I'm not even a huge Beatles fan, but like the Animals,
Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic Monkeys. Yeah. Also, AM was on that list. That should not be near there.
AM
is probably the most bland Arctic Monkey. Like, I like it. Like the singles are catchy. Yep. Like I don't dislike it, but it's just like it's such a heavy bias towards like what you would expect to just be like the most streamed albums of all time. The only one that I could, like, and I think like there is good picks in there, but I think the order is very out of whack.
Yes.
There's a ton of bias towards, or rather against, like a lot of the heavier music. Like we just said, Master of Puppets is the only metal album on that list. There should at least be 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because like even like there's no Black Sabbath on there.
There's no AC/DC either. Like there's some like popular.
I think Back in Black was like in 90 to 100 range.
Oh, was there?
Yeah,
maybe.
I think I don't know.
I'm just saying there's a lot of like these like I don't want to say heavier, but like I don't know, more rocky bands from like the 80s and 90s that you think would have had a little bit more representation given like the clientele that would be using Apple Music.
For sure, yeah. Well, and also if you think about like they did have a lot of like, because I don't even think it's like a year bias kind of thing, because there was like a lot of classics like you had Stevie Wonder in the top 10, which makes sense.
100%, yeah. That's probably his best album too.
100%. But and then when we're talking about like I don't like, as much as I love Blonde, it should probably be in the conversation for this list.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't be in like number 5. I think it was.
Yeah, it was very early on.
Which is like it's an incredible album. Probably shouldn't be number 5 of all time.
Yeah.
And like Thriller, being number 2 just kind of feels like
pandery.
Yeah.
What is his best album?
I would definitely.
What is MJ's best album? Off the Wall?
I think it's probably Off the Wall.
I think it's Thriller, to be honest.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, but even then, do you think that it is number 2 album of all time?
I think so. Here's the thing. I think the way that I would rate like my top 100 albums, some of them wouldn't even be music I enjoy listening to, but I would include them in the top 100 because of what they like historically represent. Thriller is the first like mega giga super album where it's like it went platinum everywhere immediately. It was one of the first albums where almost every song had a music video that was like being played consecutively with the release of it. You're talking about like the first like global superstar that was one person and not a whole band. and he was African American, and he, you know, was like a brother of many, many other talented artists. He was one who popped off. Like, I don't know. I would put Thriller somewhere in the top 10, or at least one of the like 80s Michael Jackson albums, either Thriller or Off the Wall.
That's fair.
I can agree with that. But also, like, I think the issue with this list too is that it feels very like corporatized.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like there's not.
Well, you know
like,
who picked it, right?
Oh yeah, it was a whole bunch of music critics.
No, but it was also musicians. It's like Nile Rodgers.
I thought it was just critics.
No, Nile Rodgers was like one of the people that picked some of these people. Yes. Okay. But like ultimately means a lot of the people that they talked to, they didn't put their own music in. So it's like if I was gonna pick a Daft Punk album to include in the top 100, it would either be Discovery or Ram. But obviously, if I'm Nile Rodgers, I'm not gonna put an album that I was on in the top 100.
Fair point.
It's, you know.
Yeah. I do think Discovery should probably be higher on that list as well. As far as other like hot takes as you were scrolling through, is there anything else that like stuck out to you? Because I have like a couple more that I.
No, I mean, there's a lot of things where it's like, I think I've at least heard of a lot of these people, even if I've never heard the album incomplete. So it's like I can't be that upset, you know. Other than the number one, apparently, maybe I'm just a bad person.
No, honestly, and I think this is gonna get me called out for soy opinions again. We grew up in a 99% white town. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not.
They would have played that on Rock 102.
Right? Yeah. And like, well, here's
everything that rocks.
I'm not gonna pretend that like I've known who fucking Lauryn Hill was since I was like 5 years old. Like, I'm not gonna pretend I knew that, right? Because I was raised on a fucking Lenny Kravitz greatest hits CD. You know, like I'm not. Like, it's not like I'm not gonna pretend I knew who Lauryn Hill was until I got to college, right? Like that was. Like usually, like in college is when I started to branch out musically and I started DJing and all this stuff. But like the funny thing about the Lauryn Hill pick is that I feel like that's one of the few picks on this list where I'm like, oh, an actual human being felt that pick like in their bones. You know what I mean?
What you're saying,
yeah. Like it felt like.
I think that's how Blonde ended up being like number 5. Right?
I could see that too. Yeah. I think Blonde was probably like a little bit too high. You know, like it's a fantastic record. I'm trying to think. There's a couple. Oh yeah, and Good Kid, Mad City being in the top 10. I don't disagree with, but
it should have been To Pimp a Butterfly. It should not have.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels tragic because like To Pimp a Butterfly did this. It was much more experimental, and it felt kind of like a hallmark of like hip hop, like when that album came out.
Yeah.
Right. And as much as I like Good Kid, Mad City, and as much as I like Section 80 and all the other Kendrick albums. Like, To Pimp a Butterfly is like a generational masterpiece.
That's the one with All Right.
Yes.
Great song.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did you ask me if that was the one with All Right or if it was?
It is, right?
Yes, it is.
It's a great song.
It's a fantastic song. Yeah, but even if you like listen to the album like front, like, and I think the thing too with a lot of this list is if you listen to a lot of these albums front to back, I feel like you're missing out on like so like my issue with Thriller personally is that it feels just kind of like a bunch of like not conjoined singles back to back.
So you're looking at it as a mindset of like this is the top 100 albums of all time. They should be albums. Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Because even on I'm trying to remember the order in Thriller.
So
like,
like,
I think it's like Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean. And like those songs
they're all just singles,
are so different from each other. They just like they don't blend together.
So I think like thinking it from your perspective, right, where it's like it should be albums, like that changes my perspective that like some of these other things 100% should have been up much higher. Like I know that you're a Pink Floyd fan or hater, sorry. But like of all their albums, like I feel like Dark Side of the Moon is one of like the most albumy albums, you know? It's like it's the one that pulls together. Like Discovery is probably the Daft Punk album that is the most albumy, where they pull them all together and they flow nicely into each other.
That I would agree with.
That makes more sense why you would put Sgt. Pepper's so early on, because that was the first Beatles album that was like a storytelling album.
Exactly.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And for the record, I don't dislike Dark Side of the Moon. I think it's just the fact that there is other prog records, if we're talking like front to back, like In the Court of the Crimson King is like one of the most notable snubs on this list. That like
who?
In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson.
Okay.
The JoJo character.
Yeah, by the JoJo character, obviously. No, it's very like it's up there. Is probably the best prog rock album.
Okay.
That, and I mean, I also really like 2112. If we're talking prog stuff, like actually, was Rush even on the list? I don't think Rush was on the. Yeah, see, like stuff like that is like tragic. If you
the fact that Breakfast in America isn't on this list, fucking disgusting.
Absolutely, yes,
disturbing.
Absolutely correct. Okay. Yeah, no. So, in the funny thing, at the same time, though, I also catch myself defending it because I'm like, they do have some good picks on there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if I asked like a lot of my family and friends to list like to come together and make a like a top 100 albums album list, Bjork would not be anywhere near that list, even though she absolutely should be.
Right.
You know. So, especially Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, like that just wouldn't have happened. So, and I think that's why I like the Lauryn Hill record so much. Is that like from front to back, it's like a saga. Like you feel like you're listening to like this like saga of like this.
So you've
chapter
listened to
in her
that
life.
album?
Yeah, many times. Yeah, it's
okay.
fantastic. So I promise you, I didn't just go into Spotify after this list dropped and I was like, who is Lauryn Hill?
So maybe I'm a boomer. Okay, I get it.
No, don't worry, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I have heard a song.
You probably have.
I probably have.
Like,
if it's number one,
yeah,
probably.
most likely. Yeah.
Do you feel like in the age of streaming that we've kind of seen the death of the album?
100%. I think so it's like Chappell Roan, who I've mentioned in a previous podcast episode and I've been talking about a lot lately. Her, as much as I love I'm trying to remember
the rise of a Midwest,
the rise and fall of a Midwest princess.
Yes, yep,
nailed it. It doesn't as far as like a story in like kind of it doesn't really feel like it's a full like I feel like there's not like a very clear beginning and end. You know what I mean? And even though I think a lot of the songs on there are fantastic, like but and you could even tell if you look at the release dates of a lot of these songs, almost all of them started as singles.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Pink Pony Club, which is probably my favorite song off of that, came out in 2020. Like
wait,
early
hold on.
2020.
You're really gonna sit here in my living room and say that you're gonna put the Pink Pony Club above Hot to Go?
Yes.
Or Red Wine Supernova?
I love both of those songs, for the record. This is no shade to those songs. I think Pink Pony Club is probably just her best song at the moment.
Not even close. Not even close.
Have you listened to it live at Coachella?
Have you?
Yes. Yes.
When did you go to Coachella?
I've watched the video of it. That counts. No. It's like if you watch a live recording of a band, okay, you can get it completely recontextualizes the song.
Yeah, but did you see her saying "Hot to Go" at Boston Calling?
I did actually, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, 100,000 people just
Yeah, but I also wouldn't put the YMCA at my top 100 list, Tyler.
Oh my god.
I think Josh has zero opinion on this. Actually,
I'm not like a big like music head.
Oh, I was gonna say I just thought you weren't huge on white girl pop.
No. I'm fine with white girl pop, but I am the fly on the wall for this conversation.
That's okay.
Well, actually, Josh is my witness for the record. I do love Hot to Go. Okay, at Charlie and Emily's wedding on the party bus, we put Hot to Go on the queue and the speakers, and I did the Hot to Go dance with a couple of the bridesmaids.
And it fell flat.
Really?
Yeah,
fell flat.
There's two of the bridesmaids were like, "Oh, Jared, like that's so fun. That this is great," and they were doing it with me. And there was one bridesmaid who shall not be named that I do not think was a fan of me or my music choices.
As soon as Jerry did the dance, it got skipped.
Damn.
It was a bummer because two other bridesmaids were dancing with me. It was great. We were having a great time. Hey, anyway, you know who else is a great band? The Seatbelts.
Oh my god! All right, I can't believe you robbed me. I had the perfect transition here.
Shit, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, all right, we'll stop.
It only took us like 40 minutes.
No.
All right.
We're good.
Tyler,
we're good.
go.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. It's like obviously Cowboy Bebop, the whole like lineage is like music, right? You can look at the whole show as an album instead of as a.
At like a conceptual level.
Yes,
100%.
Someone even like described it as like it's less of an album and it's more like a 2 LP, right? Because there are like 4 eras in the 26 episodes, and you can be like, oh, this would be when I have to like get my ass up and like swap the discs or like flip it over,
So I don't disagree with that, but I am curious to see like where. So like if you think there's like you said 4 different like eras, kind of.
So like Cats on Mars is like the goofball era.
Yeah.
The goofball era. Yeah, that's oh god, what's the song? Bad Dog something. It's the one where
Bad Dog Serenade.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No. Wait,
no. It's the episode where they're like chasing EIN through the city.
Yeah. I think it's episode.
It's like episode 3. It's very early on.
That is the second episode.
It's
second episode. Oh, okay.
Stray Dog Strut. So all right. Why don't we? I feel like we can avoid the the white men talk about interesting topic meme if we skip over like the fact that this is what Cowboy Bebop came out in 1998 and it's this anime and that means it's Japanese animation, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's like I feel like if you've clicked on this and you're not Josh or I, then you
Exactly.
probably already still know what Cowboy Bebop is, right?
One would assume.
So instead of talking about the show, what if you talked about like what got you into it? When did you watch it for the first time?
Okay. Do you mind if I take the lead on this? Because I think
Yes,
I might have a
please.
unique
Yeah.
perspective on this for you guys. So, Tyler, I think we found out about it at the same time. Probably when we were like 13-ish.
I think so,
Does
yeah.
that sound right to you?
Yeah.
So like 7th or 8th grade. I don't remember which.
Yes.
And I remember a certain history teacher of ours also watched it. I mean, he watched it probably when it was releasing.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember he was like, oh, what did you think of every single episode? And because I'm not gonna lie to you, because of my fried 13-year-old brain, I didn't actually fully finish watching Cowboy Bebop like front to back until I was like in college. Like
Really?
I like faked liked it because it was too slow for my
Bro.
13-year-old brain, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I probably watched that first episode with the red eye and everything.
Yeah.
Probably at least a dozen times in my life.
There was only boobies for 5 seconds, so Jared's like, this is not for me.
Yeah, 13-year-old
Doesn't hit.
Yeah, my neurons were not firing. But yeah, no, so I kind of revisited it in like early college, probably freshman year of college, and that's when like I really just kind of like fell in love with it.
Yeah.
That's
That's interesting. So you didn't watch it all the way through until you were like college age.
I think I kept watching the first maybe like 5 episodes, and I kept getting bored.
Interesting.
Damn.
As an
really?
adult, I obviously don't hold that opinion. Like I think it's like a
Yeah.
masterpiece now.
Yo.
Yeah.
But
Where would you drop it?
I would usually drop it after Ballad of the Fallen Angels.
Interesting.
So
okay.
like episode
That's
5.
that's like when it's grips you though.
That's when it
Well, that's
starts,
right.
yeah.
So, and I will still say that Ballad of the
yeah,
Fallen
it's not
Angels.
for me.
No,
Back
no,
to
no.
DXD.
Battle of the Fallen Angels, probably my favorite episode of television ever. Okay?
Really?
And then you go to episode 6, and is it the episode?
Episode 6 is Toys in the Attic, right? That's the one with the lobster in the
Episode
refrigerator.
6, so after Ballad of
Oh,
Fallen
Sympathy for the Devil is
Angels
episode 6.
is Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh, that's
Which
the
is
trucker
the kid.
episode.
No,
it's the kid
that's
episode.
Heavy Metal Queen.
It's the one with like the
Oh.
kid that has like not Benjamin Button.
I
disease,
love the
but-
trucker episode, by the way.
It's like
Wait,
yeah,
hold on, hold on.
that is where I dropped it as like a 13-year-old.
I'm asking.
I'm gonna be
Jared,
honest,
the
Jared.
sound engineer.
That happened with me too.
Really?
Yes.
I just feel like it's such a tonal shift because like you think that like you're getting like you get the story hook of Vicious, and then you're like, holy shit,
Yes.
that was incredible, and then you get to the next episode and it's just this like 10-year-old with a gun who's not actually 10 years old, I know, but like
If I play the soundtrack, is it gonna bleed through,
probably
even if it's quiet?
if it's like a quiet, I think that'd be fine.
All right.
You do that.
I feel like I'll be in a better mindset if I.
I agree to that. Yeah.
Hold on.
Well,
Bring
actually,
some memories
speaking of
back.
the soundtrack, I think just kind of while we all kind of like recount our experiences, "Rain" is probably still my favorite song that they've done. That's in the show.
I remember there was like some sort of beef with us when in high school you're like, yeah, I prefer the seatbelt version. The male singer.
I still do.
Really?
I still do. Listen, I mean, it's a like
Tyler's on the
Yeah,
right
yeah,
side of history.
yeah,
He's
Tyler-
shaking his head
Tyler's
over there,
disagreeing
dude.
with me. I think they're both fantastic. I think it's just
The female version's iconic.
the female version fits probably better with the episode. I will say. For
But you
Ballad
think
of Fallen Angels,
He's hitting those notes on the album though.
yeah, well, because if you listen to the man singer, I think the man singer, yeah, all right, the
Okay.
singer that happens to be a man. He has like a much more like raspy and kind of like almost like I feel like I'm sitting at like a blues bar,
Yup.
and I
Okay.
think that's why I enjoy it. Just it's marginally more. Like it's like I still
I
love
see.
both versions of the song.
But like I was saying before, yeah, when I first tried watching the show, I did drop it after Sympathy for the Devil.
Mm.
But when I first encountered this show, I remember it. I don't know how because I have terrible memory, but this was like one of the only times I like slept over at my grandparents' house, and I left the TV on, and this was like early 2000s Adult Swim.
Yep.
I woke up to Tank playing on the TV.
So while the rest of us were getting awoken by George Lopez, the fucking
Yes.
lowrider, you woken up by Tank.
I woke up to Tank.
So is that actually how you watched it for like the first time?
Well, I was like,
or did you already know about it?
I was like a kid, you know. In 2001, we were children.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha.
I only ever watched that intro. I wasn't conscious enough to watch an actual episode as a little boy.
Fair point. Yeah. I think as boys that were born in 1998, I think it's
97. Come on.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You were in 97.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like we have such like a connection with this series. So I feel like almost a little bit biased by just saying that like, oh yeah, I think it's probably going to go down as one of the best like anime intros in history. But like,
so on my anime list, Cowboy
Yes.
Bebop has steadily dropped over the years.
Really?
That's so sad.
So Tank has stayed relatively high in like the top 10, like what are they called? It's not OSTs. What's the starting track?
the opening, the OP.
OP.
Yeah.
But I believe that Cowboy Bebop is not even in the top 20 anymore on my anime list.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's
even
probably getting
cracking
outdone by
the top
fucking My
20,
Hero
huh?
Academia or something too. That's the thing that kills me.
So just to be clear, so when I first started watching anime like pretty seriously was when Infinite Stratos came out. Like, or not, sorry,
Oh,
no,
okay.
not that. When Sword Art Online came out.
Okay,
Which
yeah, it's
I
like
think-
freshman year of high school, right?
Yeah, I think like 2012 or 2013,
Yeah, probably 2012.
something
Yeah,
like that.
sounds right.
And so at that time, or not, oh my god, I keep saying that because that's the one I enjoyed. Sword Art Online was like in the top 10 and had beaten out Cowboy Bebop for a very long time.
That's tragic.
Yeah. I first watched it. I watched it on YouTube. You know.
Oh, in the 3 parts, right?
No, this was back in
Oh.
the good old days when the copyright detection was pretty poor, and
Okay.
so
It was
I
a lawless land.
yeah, I watched it with dubs, obviously,
Of course.
and I watched it outside up at camp. So you know, for chat that does not know, we used to camp in Grenville in like a trailer during the summer,
Okay.
and the campground had Wi-Fi. So in order to get the Wi-Fi, you had to be outside of the tin box. So we would, I would sit on the deck like late at night after everyone else had gone to bed, and I would watch it, and then I would go to bed and then wake up in the morning with like 1,000 fucking mosquito bites. But I forged it so I could watch Bebop.
That's a super. I never knew that. That's like how you like experienced it for the first time.
That's how I watched
cool.
almost all of anime. Yeah,
Huh.
just to, like around the time because I kept pretty good log of like what I watched. Maybe like 3 or 4 series after Cowboy Bebop, I watched Clannad.
Yeah, I've actually still never seen.
That's
seen it,
one of
to be honest.
Nicole's favorites.
It's a very sad boy
Yeah.
TV show. Every time you think it's gonna get better, it gets even sadder.
Yep.
Is this like a Your Lie in April kind of scenario?
Way sadder.
Way so. Okay.
it's
Way
alright.
sadder.
much
yeah.
sadder, but this is a bit of a hot take. Nicole tried showing me this. I couldn't make it.
I did. Yeah,
make it
for
through it.
Clannad.
Yeah, I couldn't make it through it.
Yeah,
It's a slow,
Yes.
slow burn.
I did the 3. I did the same thing as you back in high school. Again, I had a fucking lizard brain. I still do, but like I did the 3 episode test with Clannad. I dropped it. I was like, yeah, this is the same thing with Steins Gate, which some people
Yeah.
swear is like the best anime ever made. I just can't get into it. I've tried.
Right, like Clannad like makes it for a lot of people's top 10s, and I'm like, I just couldn't make it.
The animation style is creepy, first of all, and second of all, like just imagine like a prepubescent Tyler just crying in the club on the deck of the trailer.
Like, so like emotionally speaking, you were still kind of like. This could be just a personal experience. I feel like I didn't gain media literacy until I was a bit older. So like, did you like were you kind of like already there and you could like?
No, it was different. So it's like when I was initially watching anime, I like always looked at it through my lens versus through the lens of the main character, right? So it's
Sure.
like a lot of anime is meant for like the teenage boy, right? So it's like lots of ecchi harem shows and everything else because like that's what sells, right? But like I think Cowboy Bebop was the first thing I watched that wasn't that, right? Like it was meant for adults and had like some very adult themes, and just like how you like read or watch something that's meant for adults as a child and like you don't get it, I didn't get it. So it's like Cowboy Bebop was cool and interesting, and I really enjoyed it. But I don't think that I like fully understood the message that they were like putting out there without like gaining some media literacy and like rewatching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
Were
It's
you,
like-
so were you in the same boat too?
Well,
then?
yeah, it's like going back to like watching like a Pixar movie, and then you're picking up on more of those like subtle jokes
Yeah.
meant for like
Yes.
the adults in the crowd because you're the adult now.
Yeah, I think I think probably my favorite time that I ever watched it was and this was when I did. Oh, thank you. So I did it like front to back back in college, like probably senior year of college, when I was still working until like 2 or 3 a.m. some nights at the radio station.
Baxton O'Brien working you, like
Well,
beating you like a drum.
Well, here's the thing. So the job itself was easy because I just basically had to pay attention in case like anything like went offline, basically. So I would just be like watching anime, reading comics, and doing other shit, you know.
Yep.
And eventually, like I rewatched it, and just something about like being in like the dimly lit radio station at like 1
Added to the vibes.
Yeah, just the vibes were like immaculate, and just like I remember I finished the Real Folk Blues, part 2.
Yeah.
I was like in tears. I was like, this is just like it ruined me.
I definitely cried a couple times. Like the first time I watched it, and then I think every time I rewatch it, like there's definitely some emotional parts.
Well, and I think especially mostly because of like Faye's character at the end too.
Yeah.
Where she's trying to stop Spike from going. It's just like, because you very rarely, and I think this is my favorite part about the series, how when we're looking at these characters, they seem to not really take anything seriously, like on the surface. You know, they're always giving each other shit, or they act like they don't care or anything like that.
Yeah.
But then you have like these small moments where just like their actual like personality shows through, that they actually like do care about the other people. Yeah. So there was the episode, I want to say it was 7 or 8. It's when Spike is this is so Waltz for Venus, which is when it's Rocco. He's trying to steal the flower that he'd be able to sell to make his for like his sister's like eye surgery.
Oh yeah.
That's where the flow like water.
Yes,
comes
exactly.
From.
Yes. Yeah, I wrote down the quote because I was like, this goes kind of hard actually. Let's see. Yeah, you have to be like water, and then Rocco saying, if we met earlier in my lifetime, do you think we would still be friends after he got shot? And I'm like, so like there's a lot of stuff like that where even at the end, so at the end of that episode, you finally see Spike start to be genuine when he goes to visit Rocco's sister. Yeah. Before she's had her, like right after she had the surgery, so her sight hasn't fully come back yet. And then he just talks about Rocco, did all this for you.
He was such a good guy.
Yeah. And then like the last thing that Spike does is to like go visit her before he leaves the planet. And it's like, you very slowly see like this character development happen.
I think that's what's stuck with me over all these years is it's like ostensibly if you look at it without media literacy, right, like you're just kind of like examining it at like this really low level. It's like, oh yeah, they're like bounty hunters and it's like an adventure, and you look at it solely on like an episode by episode, right? Like the first time I watched it, the only time I ever thought about like another episode while watching something was like, oh, this is part 2. The only other part of this I need to consider is the previous episode. Versus now it's like you said, you kind of see this character development over time, and how they go from being these like people who fucking hate each other, who are just living together because they can't afford to otherwise, to like really caring about each other, and I don't know.
One other thing that I do really appreciate now, especially like now that I'm older and I have watched it through multiple times now, is I love how like if you don't look at the episode titles, you will get caught so off guard if it's like a quote unquote like plot episode, Yeah. So like basically anything that has like vicious in it, you know?
Yeah.
You would and I think this is part of the reason like why, especially in retrospect, why I like the Ballad of Fallen Angels so much.
Yeah.
Because you think that they're just showing like the backstory of like this like bounty hunter that like they're gonna have to hunt down, and then the words, you wouldn't be doing this if Spike was here.
Yeah.
Hits, and I'm like, holy shit, like it's actually like it's getting real now. You know?
You know how there's like a way that people tell you to watch Star Wars nowadays?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you start with this episode and then that episode, and it's not even remotely like chronological order. It's just like the way that's like the best way to watch it.
Yes.
So when we were the age that I originally want to watch this, so like 12 or 13 years old, I guess. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people going on online saying, so Cowboy Bebop was a really good way to get people into anime if they never watched it. And Cowboy Bebop, the initial couple episodes are a little boring if you're like trying to hook somebody. And so I believe they said that you start by watching Ballad of Fallen Angels and then you go back and watch the first 4 episodes.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it is a good hook to get someone into it.
Yeah.
But the first episode does start with, the Mars flashbacks.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the first episode does do a pretty good job of hooking people.
I was
in.
saying,
I
as
actually
far as
agree with that.
pilots
Yeah, the
go,
Red Eye
it's probably
episode
one
is
of the
sick.
best pilots.
Asteroid
for
Blues is a
everything, yeah.
very good episode.
We're good. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna cut that out. But yeah, sorry. We're getting a little bit sticky on,
come on,
the
man.
coaster for the drink here. Let me just there we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I feel like it does a good job. It tells you, like, I believe it reveals that Spike was in the Syndicate at some point, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But you get
Yeah.
to learn about his, like, kind of skill set and the fact that they're broke. And I think
it's bell peppers and beef.
bell peppers and beef.
You guys ever had? Now that we're adults and you can cook for ourselves, do you ever do bell pep and beef?
Well, to be fair, they only had bell peppers.
Oh right. Yeah,
Right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no beef.
So no, I have not. I've not been down bad enough to just eat fucking cooked peppers and mushrooms for dinner. But even like looking back, having watched it so many times, like you can kind of see the kind of parental role that Jet
Yeah.
kind of takes on, even that early on before anyone else has joined the Bebop crew.
Mm-hmm. Actually, one thing I did want to ask, because I watched the first episode. Did you guys ever watch the live action?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, I did the first episode. and it was
That's like
garbage.
saying there's an Avatar movie.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah. What?
I think
Or a sequel to Pacific Rim. That's a singular movie.
it's so special to me. Like, I wouldn't want to soil my relationship with it by
Right.
watching the live action.
Like I've
I see
seen
that,
I've
yeah.
seen clips, but I've never sat down to watch a full episode.
Okay.
Even just seeing clips like taints it.
Oh, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
again,
like the Radical Edward ending stinger.
yeah,
Terrible. I
Yeah.
cringed out of my pants.
It's terrible. Yeah.
cringed out of my pants.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and it was god awful. I was just curious to see where we were at, if you guys have watched that too or not. But
Yeah.
but as far as Bebop is concerned, though, I do think that one thing I don't feel this way about a lot of other quote unquote like classic anime as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times where it dealt like the show is surprisingly progressive when I wouldn't. I say there's an asterisk on there, okay, because it is still an anime, and all that.
Hold on. What episode is it? I'm searching.
It's the something of Jupiter.
Yeah,
whatever
Jupiter Jazz.
Jupiter
Yeah.
Jazz, yeah. So in the Jupiter Jazz episode, they have, obviously there's the trans character whose name I'm forgetting right now.
Gren.
Gren, thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you, especially with retrospect in mind, and you're trying to look back at this, I'm kind of surprised that they would include something like that because it's done in a rather tasteful kind of way.
And that wasn't even the first instance.
Yeah,
of
'cause
the-
there's the
in
two
Waltz,
gay guys
in Waltz for
in-
Venus. There's the two gay guys,
yeah.
and they don't even bat an eye at it.
Yeah, they're just like,
They're just there.
Faye
Oh,
fucking
that's
interrogates them. But,
right.
like,
Faye interrogates them,
Yeah,
but
but
she's
it's
not
not
like,
because they're
oh,
gay. It's-
two men.
yeah, exactly. And like, the funny thing now is that like we still see,
And
like,
this was in 1998 Japan.
Yeah.
right. That's what like it's surprisingly progressive, and like I was
And even
pleasantly
for
surprised as I
and
was
even for
Pleasantly surprised, yeah.
and even for like 2001 US dubbing, they could have like
could have been so much worse.
it could have been so much worse. They could have given Gren like a fruity voice. Like they still do it for like the obvious trans character, like drag queen characters where they have
Right.
the fucking stubble and like the giant drag queen wig.
I feel like this leads us into a good conversation. So where do we stand on the sub versus dubbed for Cowboy Bebop?
I've never seen it subbed. I've only ever seen it dubbed.
You've never seen it subbed?
I've never seen it subbed.
Wow.
I watched the sub once, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think it's bad or anything, but I still think, I mean, this has been beaten to death over the past 2 decades of anime discourse online. But like, I feel like Bebop is like the golden standard for what a dub should be.
100%.
You know, like if I'm watching a dubbed anime, and for example, like if Amanda's in the other room, so like I watched the Rebuild movies, dubbed, or at least the first one dubbed.
Danger.
Yeah, I think my wife looks at me differently when I watch like most dubbed anime. But like and I think it goes to show like the talent of all the voice actors that were involved with it. It just sounds like the voice acting is like next level.
Yeah.
Right? Not even just because Steve Bloom sounds like a fucking badass,
Yeah.
okay? But like everybody just, it feels organic, compared to, again, even like the Ava dubs, even though like the source material for that series is probably on the same like
Crank
quality.
that soldier boy, Shinji.
All right, Oscar. No,
little factoid.
Yeah.
Do you know that Steve Bloom's not even credited as himself for the original series?
I
What?
did not.
He's credited as David Lucas.
I'm assuming he got the Lucas from George, but what's the
It was like some whole like Screen Actors Guild thing. So like for the movie, he was credited as Steve Bloom.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's like this whole like no compete clause or whatever with like anime, where a lot of like voice actors have like different names that they can go under, so they can work multiple jobs.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually didn't
So
know
the
that.
whole series he's credited as David Lucas.
No shit.
Yeah.
I might know. Actually, just on the topic of the movie as well, why is this series such a pain in the ass to watch? At least from the U.S. or at least legally.
The movie is on
speaking,
YouTube.
in the U. Oh, the movie's on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, I stand corrected. Do you need to rent it?
No.
Yeah. Okay, so it's illegally on YouTube.
Okay.
You mean someone's borrowing it?
Yeah, we're borrowing it. Okay, well, because I was gonna say the
Someone is distributing it for the public.
Okay. So as of May 2024, when we're recording this, my main issue with Bebop right now is that the only way to watch it right now is on Hulu, or it's probably
Yep.
on Crunchyroll as well. but
Netflix lost it?
It's not on
They
Netflix
did-
anymore.
it's not on
Oh.
Netflix anymore.
Right, and so when it was
Why
on
do I even
Netflix,
pay for Netflix?
because Netflix isn't a garbage streaming service, there's assuming you pay for the right package now. There's no
Yep.
ads or anything like that. But Bebop, a 25-minute long anime, right? Every single episode has 4 ad breaks of at least 2 minutes long.
That's
And I
tough.
guarantee you that they don't cut where the original ad cuts and Bebop
Yeah.
were built.
No, it is brutal. The cuts make it almost unwatchable sometimes. It's bad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you have that's why I watched it on desktop with a funny little plugin.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
but
would
I like sitting on my
avoid-
couch.
Jared, I wish you had said something because I once sailed the high seas and
Yup.
I
Oh,
may or
I
may not
see.
have permanently borrowed. But that was prior to the Blu-ray release, so I have some crisp
Ooh,
VHS cuts,
I
you know,
might
for
need
the
to-
true
Might need to
experience.
hit you up on that. Do you have the movie as well?
I do, yeah, of
chance?
course, yeah.
Okay, I might need to hit you up for that because
You mean episode 22 and a half?
yeah, I did not get to for this episode. I did not get a chance to rewatch episode 22 and a half because it is. I should have just looked on YouTube. What am I doing? I'm forgetting my roots.
Yes.
I used to watch Bleach episodes,
Exactly.
parts 1, 2, and 3 on separate
We
YouTube
all
videos.
forgotten where we've come from.
I don't know if the website's up, but I recall watching a unbelievable amount of anime on kissanime.com.
Yeah, no, that's still there. My thing now, too, especially because I'm like an adult now, like I do not want to watch it in like 240p.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's,
no.
that's kind of.
Well, see, I watched it on my Nook on the deck, so that wasn't really a concern. for
yeah,
me,
that would
you know.
do it.
Trust me, Jerry. Times have changed. If you're going on a website with like www1 and it ends with like a .ru, it's gonna be 1080 rips.
Yeah,
Okay,
4K Blu-ray, right? It's
Exactly.
even better than what
Right?
you'd watch
As
on
long as
Netflix.
you have all firewall protection up, all antiviruses are on full blast. You can watch anime for free at the highest quality.
Okay, all right.
Times have changed.
Yeah, no, I think I'm just forgetting where I came from. You know,
Exactly.
I remember I used to it was with another one of our friends that is no longer with us. I mean they're not dead, but you know. No, I used to watch Bleach every like 5 episodes with them. It's like we'd watch it on our own on YouTube, of course, because this was
Right.
like when we first started getting into anime, Crunchyroll wasn't really a thing yet.
It wasn't as big, and now
Yeah.
it's the only.
Yeah, now it's all because I think
Well,
did
they've all-
Funimation swallow up Crunchyroll or vice
One of them
versa?
bought the other, yeah.
I think
Crunchyroll-
Funimation bought Crunchyroll. If I'm right.
Crunchyroll bought Funimation,
Ooh,
and
okay.
Sony owns Crunchyroll.
Right. Yeah, and I mean,
Are you saying Japan's buying it back?
No, Sony moved their headquarters to California, so all the wokies bought it.
oh man, yeah, no, it's fun because like I like having these series and movies that I've watched, not even just Bebop, but like I feel like I've grown as I've watched the series, and I think there's something like really special to get out of that. So like my favorite example of it is like watching Scott Pilgrim as a 14-year-old. versus watching it as a 26-year-old completely changes like the tone and like how I view the characters and everything.
Yeah.
And I think Bebop is one of those things too, where I was like, oh, this shit's boring. To like now I'm like, oh yes, please give me more of the 26 episode slow burn of Spike's character development.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree 100%. Like that's I think my biggest takeaway is it's like as I've grown up and like my thought process has changed. I've definitely like looked at some of the episodes in a very different light.
For sure.
You know? Things I thought were like just filler, like, oh, they're going on a wacky zany adventure. I'm like, oh, this is like one of the most important plot points of the whole show, right? Like you're like, oh shit. Definitely missed this growing up. I think, you know, before we talk about major plot points, what is your favorite filler episode? So these are the episodes where they're episode whatever, but they could have been anywhere else in the show and it still would have made sense.
This is very easy for me. Heavy Metal Queen.
Okay.
The space trucking.
That's a banger
Trucker,
choice.
The space trucking is my
top-
favorite
Yeah.
filler episode.
Tyler, if you have one on deck, you go ahead. I got to search up which
Well,
one.
Josh kind of stole mine because I was gonna say the same thing. You know,
It's a banger of an episode.
it's so fucking good.
I love it. I don't know what it is, but it just flows so easily from start to finish.
Oh, hold on. I think I might have one. I just want to make sure that I get the right name. Let's see.
Black Dog Serenade.
Which one is Black Dog Serenade?
I guess it's
That's the one.
you're pushing whether or not it's actually filler because it gives you a little bit of backstory for Jet.
That is the one
Oh,
where
yes. Yeah.
where Jet goes on the prison ship.
I guess I didn't get to quit smoking after all.
Okay. I think I got it. Brain Scratch Transliteration.
What?
That is...
That's like
it's
one of
it's
the
a little bit later, but it's like
ones.
the,
Is
it's
that
like the
the one-
hacker episode.
Yeah, with the comatose kid.
Yes.
I really like that episode.
Okay. The
Well-
only other answer I would be willing to accept was Perrault Le Flou.
That is
Also,
also a
great.
good one.
That was my number 2. Yeah.
Right.
There's a song that's in that episode and only that episode. It's like the track for the clowns flashbacks. They're like growing up in a lab.
Yes.
It
yes.
hits so fucking hard. And it's only on like the seatbelts release a lot of discography.
Mm-hmm.
It's only on Vitamin List, which you cannot get anywhere except for Japan and only on a CD.
damn.
Of course.
Pathetic.
And I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, but I think the pilot is also up there as well for me. I think the pilot might
Yeah,
be.
but I feel like that's an essential plot point
Yeah.
episode. You can't.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
that's
filler.
true. Yeah, it's not really
Yeah.
filler. Yeah, that's fair.
Asteroid Blues is really good. I do
Blues,
remember
yeah.
this. I remember this joke that Tyler used to tell that we are the 3 old guys.
Yeah.
You fucking bastard! I used to plow these fields, and yep, we were there.
Don't you remember when we dug the dam? Especially now that I have the works nights dementia, you know, I'll just be sitting there. Oh, there were
like, yeah,
these
were
2
you there?
guys. We used to work all the time. Oh, we were those guys. Oh.
Yep, those were good times. I would note down every time they showed up.
You did?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think that's my favorite part is that they're everywhere, right?
They are.
It's just like 3 fucking hobos, right? You know,
Yes,
like
the
Medicare
3 old
consumers.
guys.
And you know they're in the fancy restaurant. They're at the bar for the first episode.
They're in the fucking like hobo den with the chess master.
Oh my
shit,
god, I
you're
forgot
right.
about that.
They were there to bet on the space trucker's name.
Yeah, I think we're the 3 old guys.
Yep.
I'll take that. Yeah. So, was there anything? Was there any other like essential filler episodes you guys were thinking?
Do you think that the gate explosion was an inside job?
Yes,
Oh, 100%.
I definitely think it was the ISSP.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm right with
Because-
Josh on this one.
It was whichever one where it was the chess master one where because he was in charge of the gates, but because he wanted to postpone the project to make sure that they're stable, they canned the guy and they went ahead with the project. I think at the end when Jet's talking to the ISSP guys, he's like, "Oh, well, as long as you don't bother the guy, I won't leak that you intentionally fucked with the gates." And the gates, the whole gate incident too, just has a multi-episode like impact.
Yeah.
Like it's Sympathy for the Devil, Phase backstory.
Which is the one with the seal people? Because the gate plays a pretty prominent part in the end of that one as well.
Yes, that is
the seal people and the guy who's like lost in hyperspace.
I think that one is Gateway Shuffle.
Gateway Shuffle, yes.
The one with like those sea rat people.
Yeah, and the one I'm talking about where the guy's like lost in hyperspace and his daughter's looking for him.
That is like Boogie Woogie.
Boogie Woogie Feng Shui.
Feng Shui.
But I think that's one of my favorite things about Bebop, like, as a consumer, a media consumer.
Yes.
Is that there's all these like incredible lore events that they talk about in the background, but like they never like beat you over the head with it, right? Like there are some lesser anime that be like, in this time frame there was the gate explosion. But like Cowboy Bebop like spoon feeds it to you very slowly. Like you get pieces and pieces and pieces.
Right. Like it doesn't even start on Earth, so you're kind of like, oh well, what's the deal with Earth? Like,
Yeah. Well, I think part of the reason why I like Bebop so much too is that if this were any other anime, the anime would be about the gate explosion, right?
True.
It would be like that would be like the main plot point, but instead we just have these
it's
people
just
that are
a
living
thing
in
that
universe.
happened.
Yeah, which I think it makes it feel so much more lived in as you're watching it, because I don't, especially as an adult now, like. Don't get me wrong, 12-year-old Jared was definitely like, what the fuck happened with the gate explosion? but now that I'm an adult with media literacy and can understand the shows that I'm watching, like, I don't want to say that I don't care, but it's just like an interesting backdrop as opposed to me needing to know every single detail about it.
Right. I don't want to get like too real with it, but it is like real world events where we're like, oh yeah, that is a thing that happened.
Oh yeah. And we're just here living through it.
And we just talk about it. We don't like drone on about it.
Yeah.
We're like the gate incident happened, but they don't.
Or even like
talking about it.
The Waltz for Venus, them talking about the war, right? Like the fact that
the
Vicious
Titan War
served with all these people, like they were brothers.
Yeah.
God, yeah. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. I do usually have. I don't hate the episode or anything, but it is kind of like my one skip.
I was curious to know.
What's
you were
your
talking
one
about
skip?
it. What is your skip,
I want to
bro?
make sure I'm getting the name right, but I believe it's Mushroom Samba. It's the Ed and Nine focused episode where they're running out of fuel and food.
What about the guy that drags the coffin around for when he inevitably dies?
And come on, the watermelon.
I don't know.
The like subtly racist
it's
watermelon joke.
I don't know. I just I feel like.
Do you want to know what's funny?
Hit me.
That is Steve Bloom's favorite episode besides the movie.
It's because he's like not in it.
Because
he's in it for like 5 minutes.
he did a AMA on r/Cowboy Bebop, and someone asked him what his favorite like episode to like voice Spike was in, and he's like the movie because that's when I finally like found my groove to like voice him and all that. But other than that, Mushroom Samba.
Mushroom Samba was kind of a crazy pick though, because like 90% of that episode is just Ein and Ed.
Yeah.
In the fucking back of like somebody's trunk, like it's not.
That is kind of a sleeper. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, this is your favorite, dude.
Yeah, like it's not like I don't think it's not like
it's goofy.
Yeah, it's goofy, which I think is why like all of the other Bebop episodes that are filler, quote unquote, like I feel like I still get something out of it, and I just feel like I probably get the least.
I always skip Toys in the Attic.
The alien episode?
Yes.
Oh, I kind of like. Oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it was a little bit of snoozy as well.
When Cowboy Bebop originally came out, there was like some shooting or something like that in Japan, and so there was a concern they were going to lose their funding. And so Toys in the Attic would have been the last episode had they not been like re-greenlit to continue filming or I don't know, animating,
voicing. Yeah.
And so when you watch Toys in the Attic, they each of the characters does this little voiceover about like lessons they learn and shit like that, and like it is this weird like, oh, we're providing you closure, but like obviously we know that there's another 19 fucking episodes, like it doesn't really make sense.
Back then when it was airing,
right? They're like, this is the end. I hope this is the end of Cowboy Bebop. That's why it's like there's some like ambiguity at the end where it's like, did they actually all just die to the fucking alien? But like because we know the show wasn't canceled, it's like this makes no fucking sense and like doesn't really provide anything.
This might be the wrong episode, but they do make like a meta joke about that because the dub came in 2001, so a couple years after the anime aired. They make a joke about that in the episode preview. We're like, "Yep." Ed goes, "Yep, that's it. Everyone died."
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Can I this is going to be a bit of a preview for like the next like comic video essay thing I'm working on. For the Daniel Warren Johnson episode, he made a comic called Space Mullet, which is basically take Cowboy Bebop, instead of like existential thoughts of living with your guilt of what you did in a crime family. It's war crimes. Which is great, but they actually do have like a little subplot. There's like an entire chapter of the book dedicated to when if one of the characters didn't wash the dishes, so a little like it turns into an alien basically, like tries to kill them all. Yeah, it's very Cowboy Bebop inspired.
Spike leaving the lobster in that fridge for 5 years.
I didn't know the context behind it. That does make me like it at least a little bit more, though.
Really? I just don't like it. I also am not a huge fan of Mushroom Samba, and the other one that I'm not a huge fan of is the Rocket episode.
Wild Horses?
Huh?
Is that the Rocket episode? Is that where he gets his ship fixed by
yes.
Wild Horses?
Yes, and they use like the
NASA
Challenger.
space shuttle.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Oh yeah,
it's like so anachronistic. It really pulls. Like there's this interesting trope in Cowboy Bebop where it's like it was written where in the 90s this would have been 50, 60 years in the future, right?
Yep.
So they're looking in the museums for the long lost beta tape player. Like, it's funny, it's topical, but like knowing what we know now, so like the shuttle that was used in the episode exploded. That was the one that everyone died in like 2003, 2004. So, I don't know. It's this weird anachronism that I'm just like, I can't get through. And like that character's not that cool.
That's true. Yeah, I will say Bebop does usually thrive with its like side characters, right? It's like the heavy metal episode.
VT's cool.
BT's cool. The Black Dog Serenade. His like old like I smoke a carton a day.
Columbo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cowboy Andy.
Cowboy Andy.
Yeah, do you remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. The Seal Mom.
The Seal Mom's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree, but like specifically Rocket Dude, the mechanic, loser, not very cool. Maybe it's because we grew up with a lot of those like redneck mechanics, but
yeah, honestly, I even think like the Native American chieftain guy is even cooler.
Oh my god,
his drip is immaculate.
Yes.
I guess kind of pivoting. Is there any other like favorite episodes you guys like to? Like even like non-filler, but like if you like, I know I kind of already said Battle of Fallen Angels. Is there anything else that you guys?
I think that's where it really picks up. Like I really do enjoy that episode, but
yeah, like I'm not gonna lie when I say like the episodes that do kind of revolve around like the Vicious and Spike backstory are some of the more interesting episodes. Because like those ones are good, like Jupiter Jazz.
Yeah,
Jupiter Jazz.
The two-parter, that's a good one.
I really liked Ganymede Elegy.
Oh, that was a great one. I actually just watched that.
That one's a good one. And then I actually am just a fucking sucker for Honky Tonk Woman.
Okay.
With the whole like casino like
the casino satellite.
Great.
And the rocket launchers and them having like the trade with the magnetic boots on top. Like it is it's like a timeless Cowboy Bebop. It's something I said this when we did our Evangelion episode too. There's something we said for like the anime of the 90s where they do this incredible job with the sci-fi where it's grounded, right? It's like they drive like a fucking fish trawler as their, spaceship, right? But they're like, oh, how would you interact with someone out in space? Oh, obviously they would have magnetic boots, and like we have to show very clearly to the watchers that he turned on the magnet so he could walk on the ship, like those little like things like that, or like in the trucker episode, he uses the air thrusters on the outside of the pod to get like precision movement,
Yep, and he uses his gun to
propel
exactly. himself in zero gravity.
It's very like I really enjoy how well grounded it is, much like Evangelion
for sure. Yeah, I think even if you go into like the character designs as well, like you watch something like Star Wars and like the fashion is kind of incomprehensible most of the time. But like if you look at because I even made a note of this from the first episode of Cowboy Bebop, you're like, this looks similar to what someone could be wearing like today
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
But
just
there's, like,
just
little
spaceships in the background.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and there's also like little like pieces of flavor that you see in like a lot of these outfits that are like very interesting, and it makes it kind of like stand out. It's like I could see someone doing that in the far future.
The other thing too is like the way that they show you that we've colonized all these planets, right? So it's like Venus was the one that they add all the plants to fix the atmosphere. So they talk about how people get sick here because of the allergies to the plants, and everyone's allergic to it. Or like Mars, you like fly through the like
craters.
the domes.
The bubble.
They're all like built in craters. Ganymede is all it's all water. So all the different cities are just like floating cities, and they all have their different economies.
My favorite thing of everything, the fucking space planes. Like if they're flying between planets, and it's like he's fucking flying coach, right? It's like they were able to like, even though they have like transportation gates, they still had to make this miserable fucking flying experience between the planets.
And I'm trying. Where did the episode with Rocco and the blind girl? Where was that on Venus? I'm trying to remember because
I think so.
They did
Venus.
it was kind of a gag, but it was still like because there's actually like a lot of helium in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
When Spike's voice gets raised, like as soon as he gets it.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of just like really cool touches that it's like, and it's all flavor,
exactly. Yeah.
But like it just I feel like it adds so much more to like the experience of watching it. You know, it's great.
So
and they actually caught bounties in that episode.
That too.
That might be the only episode they caught a
one of
bounty.
the only episodes, because in this world, bounties are only wanted alive.
Right.
There's no dead or alive.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they're always wanted alive to turn them into the police. No dead people, no dead bounties.
That's true.
It just voids the whole bounty if they're dead.
So I think this is a really good question. Between the four main characters, right? Which one of them do you think had the best arc, right? So it's like Faye had a couple of episodes kind of dedicated to herself. Ed had a couple of episodes dedicated to himself. I don't think Spike really did. Most of the series is about him. Like he's kind of the main character. And then Jet definitely had a couple episodes. Like
it's not Ed.
It's not Ed.
It's not Ed.
It's definitely not Ed.
It's not Ed. Like I hate to say it, but Ed was like autism maxing the whole show.
No, and honestly, like I still like. That's not to say that I dislike Ed.
Right.
Because I think like
Ed and EIN are still iconic characters, but they were also just there for the ride.
Right.
And then as soon as they got the chance to like fuck off, they did it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And like so, the episode where Ed says goodbye.
Yeah.
And he like paints his face and everything on the ship. I'm like, is it a he?
They say she in the dub.
Wait, no, but Ed also says that he's a boy in the dub.
It's up in the air.
It's up in the air. Okay.
Like the Bebop crew say she.
Yeah, but then like Ed introduces themselves as a boy at one part. I think it might be in the first Ed episode or the second. I don't remember, but
it's up in the air.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like when Ed first gets on the ship, Faye's like, "You're a girl."
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
It's still a talking point to this day.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is that like that might also go back to how we were saying that the show was like surprisingly progressive for the time, where it's like Ed at
it's
the very
never
least
never a problem.
Right, yeah. Well, and I think also at the very least Ed is just like an androgynous boy. You know, whether you could take into them potentially being trans or non-binary or something like that. Like it's kind
I
of
think more non-binary than anything else, because like I think their whole like spiel is like they exist like as this hacker, like their character is their skill set and like their knowledge.
Because they're like Edward is Edward
for sure. Yeah,
like they speak about themselves in the third person.
Yeah. Moving on from Ed though. I mean, I feel like Spike. I feel like is kind of like the shoe-in for that answer, just because again, like Spike has the most episodes dedicated to him. The show's kind of centralized around him.
Oh, sorry to cut you off.
No. Go ahead.
Continue your thought.
I was just gonna say that like I feel like Spike. I feel like is kind of like the default answer because I feel like the majority of the show is based around him specifically.
Wrong.
You can. All right, hold on. Well, but here's the thing. Even from like the first episode, it's always Spike going out in the field and trying to capture these bounties. Yeah. And like you take Battle of Fallen Angels, you take Real Folk Blues.
The main character. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's the default main character. Yeah. And I do like seeing him kind of go through his journey, but I think him as a person, I don't think the choices he would have made at the end of Real Folk Blues are any different than the ones he would have made at the beginning of the first episode.
What were you gonna say, Josh?
I was gonna say if we were to leave Spike out of this, I would probably say Faye.
Okay, that was a correct answer. Yeah, that was a correct answer. Faye is the only character out of any of them that grows and changes, right?
Yes.
Like, ultimately, you see Jet fall into all the same traps that he did that, like, cost him his arm, right? Like, he ultimately does not change. Maybe a little bit, right? Like, towards the very, very end.
He likes
he's
his
like,
friends a little bit
I've
more.
learned lessons. Don't throw your life away, right?
Yes.
But, like, if anyone didn't grow or change, it's Spike. Like, the whole series is basically about this person who could not give up on the past, could not give up on the love of his life, and, like, paid the ultimate price for it, right? Like, the Spike that you meet at the beginning of the episode of the series is the same fucking Spike that collapsed because we don't know what really happened. We don't really know what happened.
I think. Listen, I accepted that K in 2049 dies. Okay,
Right.
I've accepted that Spike has been dead for a long, long time.
You know, it's funny. Every time I watch it, I feel like my interpretation changes, right? So it's like when I was young, I was not physically prepared to accept the fact that he died, right?
Sure.
Like, I'd never watched a series that didn't have a happy ending, right? Like, it wasn't within my media vocabulary for the main character to be fucking dead.
He's getting up in the after
I was
credits.
like, oh my god, he won, dude. Look at this. He's taking a nap after
cops
his
are here,
big
guys.
dub. But I 100%, I think Faye is the answer, right? Like,
Yes.
you know, you see her, like, figure out who she is and her story and her family, and then decides it's not that important.
Well, yeah.
Right. She's revealed to be like a woman at a time,
Yeah.
Which is a great plot device.
which is cool.
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's
no,
great.
for sure.
And
well,
that's where her debt came from.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of the story too, especially the quote unquote filler episodes, right? Basically, the episodes that aren't centered around Spike. Like, we see the side characters that only show up for a single episode. We see them go through entire arcs, right? While Spike, you know,
Pedantic VHS guy is my favorite character in the entire fucking series.
I really like the pet shop owner. In
the second episode.
In the second episode, yeah, because she just like does not give a fuck.
Yeah,
you
no.
know, it's fantastic, and she's like, yeah, just leave like my babies alone. You know, it's great.
As far as bounties go, too, I think that guy is one of the more interesting bounties of the show.
It's one of my favorite episodes for sure. Yeah, I don't remember his name. It was a cool
Abdul Hakim.
Abdul Hakim.
Abdul Hakim.
Fucking sick ass character, man. That's great. Yeah. But yes, I do agree though that I second the Faye. Probably out of the main Bebop crew, she's probably the only one that actually really changes as a person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the interesting thing too is that kind of like how you see a lot of like the subtextual things build up.
Yeah.
Especially with Spike, you know, but that's more about learning his backstory than him changing as a person. With Faye, and sorry, I'm just obsessed with Battle of Fallen Angels because I still think, you know, it's great. But you see, even in the middle part of that episode when she gets captured by Vicious and his gang, you know, she's still calling kind of like lackadaisically, being like, "Oh, I kind of got myself captured, ha ha ha, whatever."
Yeah.
And then, but at the end when she finally realizes what's happening, as Spike gets shot and he's like in a coma for like a week, basically, like she's the one that's caring for him, you know.
There's this really interesting like component of all this too. So it's like you see Vicious and the rest of that syndicate like do horrible things, right? Like just kill people in cold blood and everything else. But then there's also this like underlying like code of honor, right? It's like they tranked Spike on the snow planet instead of killing him, right? Like they never laid a finger on Faye during a Battle of Fallen Angels, right? It's this really weird like juxtaposition because like obviously, you know, 1998 Japan, they're probably alluding to the Yakuza when they're talking about the syndicate, right? That's probably like the nearest allegory. But the fact that they're kind of like paying this respect to them is like, oh well, you know, there's honor among thieves, and you know, there's the white collar crime,
and like the inner political like violence only really happened when Vicious was in charge of that. Exactly. Because they're like, times are changing, bro. Like we're literally breaking bread with each other.
Yeah.
And he's the one that blows up the ship, kills Mao Yen Rai.
Also, can we talk about how there's this like very interesting like comparison to be made between that episode where they blow up the fucking ship like in the city where they're like they're breaking bread, and one of the Star Wars episodes, one of the prequels that would have been coming out around that time.
I'll let you finish your thought. I'm just
So I think
I'm
it was, I don't remember what episode. It might have been episode 1.
It was probably Phantom Menace. If you think about the space politics.
Yeah, well, but it's the space politics. But like, she's going out to with her, army of fake princesses, and the ship fucking explodes like on the helipad of the. That's exactly what happened in Bebop.
For sure. Yeah.
And I think they came out like the same year.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
I think so.
I think Phantom Menace was 99, and I'm pretty sure that episode probably also came out in 98 or 99.
I mean, not to compare the best episode of Cowboy Bebop to the worst Star Wars movie.
No, but you're absolutely right. And like, I mean, George Lucas can't write subtext to save his life. But
right.
Yeah, no, I think it's like, at least for me personally, I feel like Bebop is still to this day one of the few animes that I feel like is truly written in like a grounded kind of way.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in like, this is not like, I'm really going to come across as like a boomer when I say this, but like, that's what I look for in anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the reason why
you're not looking for Cowboy Bebop 2 where the stinger is Spike getting up.
But
I'd watch it.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, if they ever did do a sequel somehow, I will be seated day one. Okay.
Yeah.
But
They got to do it before Yoko Kanno retires,
That's true, actually. Yeah.
She's the only person in Bebop that matters.
I'm surprised she went along with Netflix.
I know.
I mean, she just had to write the music, man. That was
There must
true.
have
She had
been
to
some
get the
fat
bag.
fucking yen in it for her.
Well, and actually, I do think it's one thing to mention, and we might as well bring it up now, how influential music is to the series.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I can't...
Most of the episode titles refer to some sort of album.
Yes.
Yeah, universally.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just universally, I would say, of any media I've consumed, I think Cowboy Bebop is the best OST.
I would have to agree with that. Yes.
When we were in high school, I borrowed all of the OST, and I didn't realize that they released like almost all of it. Like every single little snippet that you can possibly imagine was released in one way or another.
Yeah.
And there are some really, really interesting pieces that like you don't really consider, like the bumps between like when the episodes are split for the ad break.
Yep.
Yes.
Like those little like jazzy.
Yeah, like
whatever.
little like flurries kind of. Yeah.
You wouldn't really think about it much, but like if I played it for you out of context, you're like, oh, like that was from Bebop. Like you might even be able to guess what episode it was from.
Sure. Yeah.
And like they released that as an album.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Vitalist is. It's like, name another show where the music was so influential that the little like 5-second clips at the in between scenes or something like that were like, holy shit, dude.
Or like the little trumpets at the beginning of Big Shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other anime that I can think of doing this, for the record, and this is absolutely with an asterisk because it was made by the same director as Bebop, was for Samurai Champloo.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that is the only other one, like the little like records.
Well, and I think Yoko Kanno was on that too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Yoko Kanno or if it was what's Nujabes.
Yeah, he was.
he did.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like he does like little like record scratches, like Samurai Champloo. That's like all that. Yeah, it's iconic. It's great.
Yeah.
But,
I haven't watched that still. I still need to.
oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. I think Bebop handles it a lot better because I feel like especially, and again, it's the Spike centric episodes, it's the non-filler stuff.
Yeah.
I think it handles a lot of that. Like Bebop handles a lot of like the main plot stuff a lot better than Samurai Champloo does.
Okay.
But Samurai Champloo, like if you're going in there for the vibes, you like looking at the art. I mean, honestly, oh god, what's Josh? Help me. Do you remember the name of the main samurai? The one with Steve Bloom? Mugen. Yes.
So
Not Jack.
No, not Jack. So there is one thing too about that is that Steve definitely remembers Spike more fondly because for when he was voicing Mugen, the Japanese execs were in the recording booth with him, analyzing every word.
Were they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that part. That's interesting.
So for Mugen, he had to be much more restricted on what he could do.
Yeah.
Where Spike, he was more free to make this character his own.
Yeah. And Mugen is, I think, probably where the default Steve Bloom voice probably comes from now.
Yeah.
It's like if we talk about him being Zeb in Star Wars or pretty much anything else. I don't know if you can hear this in the mic, but this is Kino.
Yeah, and it's the bad version.
It's the great version, dude.
No, it's the poop stink
Both
version.
10 out of 10 for the record.
I think what's most impressive is like name another show where the music is so important that they had to make a band for the fucking show, right? Like the seatbelts are like universally lauded as like some of the best like musicians to even like start to be put together in the first place. Like obviously I can't be like, oh yes, I know these individual players, but like if you go and look into it, like this is just some like the best like saxophonists and you know yada 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 that were like put together ever in Japan in like the late 90s. And their range is insane, right? You have these like massive orchestral pieces like Rain, you have all this jazz, and then you have these like Western, like, you know, harmonica laden pieces, and yet somehow all of them flow together, and you can listen to any of them and be like, oh yeah, that's from Bebop.
Yep. And then you get Cats on Mars, which is the meme song.
Is that the...
It's the... Oh
my god, that's one of my favorite. Do you know Fantasy Sign, which is like a riff on that one?
I maybe.
Okay. So, in the late 90s... Sorry, I gotta dump here a little bit.
Go right ahead.
So in the late 90s, there was this kind of like movement in like house music where if you like heavily edited an album or something like that, like if you remix someone else's work and you re-released it, that you owed it to them to include them if you decide to release it. So like one of the most famous examples is Daft Punk's Discovery comes out, I think in 98, and then either in 99 or 2000, they come out with Daft Club, which is all of the original Discovery tracks, but remixed by some other famous like French house artist. So they did that for Cowboy Bebop. There is an album of remixes of all the songs. I can't remember the name of it, but it came out when they were like slowly releasing all the OC on like CDs. People were like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut this up. I'm gonna make a fucking before SoundCloud, you know."
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "I'm gonna jam this up on my 97 Pentium 3." And they released it, which was in line with what was kind of like happening elsewhere in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that album by itself, it hits so fucking hard, even though not a single one of the songs was actually in the show.
Oh.
I wish I could remember what it was called.
We will have to look into that.
Yeah, hold on. I'll investigate. You guys can chat.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, one thing, just moving on from Bebop, just a little bit here. So the same director, like basically the same guy that created both Samurai Champloo and Bebop. And Josh, me and you have talked about this extensively. Also created Megalobox.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you watched it?
I haven't seen season 2.
Okay. All right. Season 2 is cinema. Like genuinely a 10 out of 10 show. It's incredible.
Really?
It gets so much better.
I believe you recommended this to Tyler as well.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Megalobox?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah,
Thank
but
you for
it's the
asking.
same kind of vibe though, where you get this kind of like lone wolf character, and there's still the found family tropes, but they also kind of discover especially in season 2 of Megalobox, Joe figures out how to. Well, at least he tries to move on from his past.
Yep.
You know, and it's just like, oh god, it's incredible. And same thing where the soundtrack for Megalobox, much like Samurai Champloo and Bebop, incredible, and it plays like a super focal point of the show. So except Megalobox deals with more like different cultures as well.
Right.
So it deals with a lot of like immigration politics and stuff like that, which is very interesting. So
I haven't rewatched it. Probably need to at some point. I feel like I do because it is a good show.
So the album is called Music for Freelance.
okay.
And so it is basically pitched as like a pirate radio station. So in between each of the songs is this little snippet of this like radio host who was actually one of the original like English voice actors, who's like, this is so-and-so for pirate radio. And they give you like the Casey Kasem spiel about the song you're about to hear. And they're like the whole time that they're doing this, they're like, oh, we're hiding outside of Mars, and any day now we're going to get raided by the police because we're a pirate radio station. Like, even their like ancillary work, Cowboy Bebop has these like deep artistic roots that I appreciate more than I probably should.
I dig that a lot. I think I need to give that a listen.
And the music smacks, yeah.
It's true.
Music.
So it's like
When we all go-
remixes of like seatbelt songs, basically, just front to back.
They're not all house remixes. Like, it's just remixes in general. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, other artists. Yeah.
I will give that a listen when
Yeah.
we go our separate
But the
ways.
Fantasy Sign remix specifically on that is one of my favorite songs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you look like you had more to say.
Oh no! I was waiting on someone else.
We touched on it briefly, but like, how do we feel about the closure of the show?
I'm a big fan of it, especially so when I watch anime. And I obviously talk with anime more with Josh than I do with you, generally speaking.
I'm not much of a consumer. I lied earlier.
There is a lot of moments in anime, right? Even if you're talking classic Dragon Ball, if you're talking about Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, that kind of stuff, or the Devil May Cry, even though it's a game. There's these moments where I pop off, and it's just like you feel like that swelling of emotion, and you're just like, this is fucking incredible. Let's fucking go. One such moment with Cowboy Bebop is when they're playing the Real Folk Blues as Spike is like working his way through the syndicate.
Oh,
it's
incredible.
Yeah.
And it's the Japanese version too.
Yeah. And so there's moments like that where, like, for such a show that has, like, not that the action is necessarily, like, low key, but it's kind of subdued compared to, like, a lot of the anime that you would find even back then.
Yeah.
To have a moment like that where I just feel like, let's fucking go, Spike. Let's do this. It's very powerful, and I think the ending too isn't afraid to pull any punches.
Yeah, because it's not some like long, drawn out epic battle. It's done just as quick as it started.
Yeah,
with a guy with a gun and a guy with a sword.
And I think that they do a really good job of, like, looking back on it. If I ask you to, like, repeat the last 2 episodes, the only thing you're gonna remember is the battle. But it was like the last 2 or 3 minutes, right? Like the vast majority of those episodes was them, like, kind of tying a bow on anything that they could have because they knew that this was it.
Yeah, well, and I think that they definitely were tying a bow 100%. But I think you also get some of the best emotional moments, like, right before Spike leaves.
Oh, 100%.
Because much like the final battle, the one scene that, like, really sticks with me at the end of Real Folk Blues, I believe it was part 2 when this happened, when Spike was leaving.
Yes.
Was when Faye's begging him to go, and she fires the gun into Bebop, like, trying to get him to stay.
His conversation with Jet, I think, is one of the most, like, monumental in the entire series, right? Like, this idea where they've both, like, understand what's about to happen, and they both know that neither of them can say anything that's going to change the outcome.
Right. And then when he's just, like, quietly contemplating cleaning, like, that, just the window on the ship, because he knows that was the last time he was going to see him.
Yeah. And this is right after we saw Ed leave. Like, there's this weird melancholy in the end of the series where it's like Ed leaves, they've tied up a couple bows already, and you now reach this, like, penultimate episode where you kind of see the writing on the wall. Because I think that Julia dies in
part 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So it's like this like ghost that we've been hearing about the entire time that we've been chasing. It's just like boom, just like that.
She's gone.
She's
gone.
They reunite, and like 10 minutes later, she's gone.
I think what's interesting is, if they ended it there, right? If there was no part 2. You could be under this, like, very incorrect assumption that Spike decided, like, with her gone, I can give up on the past, right? It's only if you actually complete the series, you're like, oh, actually, he couldn't.
Yes. Yeah. Well, 'cause he was, like, shackled by it, though.
Right.
That's
right.
Yeah.
That whole, like, component where it's like, I have 2 eyes and one looks to the past.
Yeah.
That hits so hard, like, as far as, like, fiction goes. Like, I don't, it's been very difficult to beat that kind of.
It's just good writing.
It's good writing,
Right.
Yeah.
And then he finally sees her silhouette in his right eye.
Yeah.
Which is his fake eye.
Oh, hits me like a ton of bricks, man. It's just like, yeah. No, I think the ending of Bebop is just something special, and it's like, as much as I can enjoy how the ending is technically open-ended with Spike being on the staircase.
I think it's pretty clear cut.
Right, but it's also inspired 2.5 decades of people being like, no, I think Spike could live,
It's the same exact thing with K in 2049.
Yeah.
Where your character is just sitting on stairs and they're closing their eyes.
Yeah, and Tyler, we actually spoke about this. It was a couple episodes ago now, where I was like, 13-year-old me cannot deal with an inconclusive ending like that. Like at the end of Halo Reach, I would immediately go.
We did have this conversation, yeah.
Yeah. We had this conversation about how I would go on YouTube and be like, Noble 6 surviving Reach, right, or like Ghost surviving MW2, right? Like, I couldn't deal with that as a kid But now that like I'm an adult that enjoys watching the show and has kind of grown
I
with
can't
the
do
show.
the opposite, right? Like
Yeah.
the show only has closure if he dies on those stairs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the whole series means absolutely nothing if they come out with Cowboy 2, you know?
Well, yeah,
Twice as much Bebop.
well, yeah, and then because like realistically, like if Spike survives, what happens? Like he goes to jail,
Yeah.
right? Like that's it. And then,
He becomes
then
the
Faye-
bounty.
Yeah, exactly. And then Faye and Jet become like the new Bebop. I mean, they kind of
Yeah,
already are the Bebop
yeah.
crew by the end, but like, yeah,
If
like there's
if
nowhere to
even.
go. The story has been told.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
Like do they continue doing bounty hunting work after?
I would like to imagine that Jet and Faye did. You know,
I see them going their separate ways. Like, it
You
doesn't
think
make
so?
sense for them to be together, yeah. Because ultimately, Spike was the glue that stuck them together.
I would have to imagine that like this is 100% reaching like AO3 fanfic levels. I could 100% see like the grieving process with both Faye and Jet, with them sticking together. Because I think realistically, because over the course of the series, you see them build this family. You have Spike, Jet, Faye, Ed, and EIN.
Yeah.
Right. Ed and EIN are gone. You know, Spike is dead. And then they're the only two left, and I think that they grew to like each other over the
Every
course of the
single
series. though.
person that means anything to any of them is dead by the end of the series, right?
Right.
Like, Jet's old partner is dead. His
Right.
former wife or fiance.
She's still alive,
She's
but
alive,
she's
but
with
she's
someone
on the
else.
run, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she
She's
wants
not
nothing to do with
anymore
him.
because I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. He goes to prison.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
turns the other guy in.
Yeah, so and he probably gave that bounty money to her to pay her rent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Off
but
her
she
debts.
wants nothing to do with Jet, though.
But she wants
Right,
but
right,
they-
no,
but
no.
they're both like that's in our past.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's what he gets for being a beta cuck.
Right. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you can have her. Let me just throw this watch in the water.
but-
But Spike is like the only one that can't like move on from that
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
Like even Faye's like, there's nothing for me on Earth.
And I think that's the biggest thing is like the first time I saw it, because I hadn't watched enough anime, I hadn't seen enough like other media, I hadn't consumed enough, right?
Yes.
Like when he threw the watch in the water, I was like, oh my God, like that's devastating. Like he's going to miss it for forever. Like I couldn't see that as him letting go, right? Because I couldn't let go.
for sure, for sure.
Because in my mind, it's like everyone needs to have a happy ending, even though that is like the exact antithesis of what Cowboy Bebop is about.
See, yeah, so maybe I'm just being a bloomer again. You know, like, I think it could just be like, yeah. I would like to think that Jet and Faye realize that they are like better, like working as partners.
I don't think so.
Right? No,
No,
Josh.
no.
What do you think on this?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously they're friends and they have a level of respect for each other, but I don't know if they would stick to doing that together. Just the
Yeah.
two,
Yeah,
just the
no.
two of them.
I could see them come up with a second movie where Jet kills Faye because she's the bounty, and it's like I don't think I think that their relationship was based off of their mutual relationship with Spike. Like I
can see that, yeah.
firmly believe that without him being the glue of the ship, that nothing sticks together.
Then nothing would have happened. Yeah,
Right?
I can see that.
Like even just the way that Jet and Spike interact with each other, it was Jet's ship, and he was not afraid to remind Spike that he was a fucking
Yeah.
guest. So like
Right.
frequently, despite the fact that they were basically like father and son, right?
Can I bring up a completely unrelated note about Jet? But just because this was a controversy when the show, like the live action show came out,
Yeah.
I always thought that Jet read like a black guy.
Yeah, you're saying he's
Yes.
black coated.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like he is,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
like even in the show, like his skin is a much darker color
Yeah.
than
His,
like Faye's or Spike.
And he is voiced by an African American.
Yeah.
That's why.
voice
Yeah,
actor.
so I
Even-
always assumed he was black. To be honest
I
with you.
believe even the Japanese sub, he is dubbed by an African Japanese person. I don't know.
Okay, all right, yeah. I was just because this was a matter of controversy when the
Yeah.
live action show came out. The Jet was being played by a black guy.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
Damn.
Yes. There's always going to be.
Is this a
controversy about
redemption?
that.
Is this a reverse soy moment?
No, well, the same exact person that called a soy will still be calling a soy dude for
Yeah.
defending
Yeah,
a black
yeah,
man. So
exactly,
Oh, right,
Jared's
right, right.
defending the.
Oh right, we're being woke.
guy
I
being
forgot.
We're being too
cast as
woke,
Jet Black
Yeah,
in the
sorry, I
show.
forgot.
yeah, but it's like I always felt like I always feel like Jet was like
100%.
like Josh said, like black coded.
100%,
Like
yeah.
okay, all right. I just want to make sure that like
Yeah.
that wasn't just like 13-year-old Jared.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Yeah.
Even even to like in a negative extent in some places, right? Where it's like he takes on some of these like tropes that like American film and like TV series kind of apply to African American cops.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like I don't know how to describe it, like he's like blindly following the force, you know, like he in the episode where his partner, like he finds out his partner betrayed him, right? Like
Yes.
Right.
up until the last second, he could not believe that this other person on the force could have fucked him over, right?
Yeah, and would be corrupt, right?
And
yeah.
He's too justice focused.
Right. I feel like in modern day cop shows, that is a trait that would have been applied to like someone of color, where
I
they're
think-
like they're
yeah,
trying to
you're
like
100%
I don't
right.
know. I don't know the word. Like there's a word that's like on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I 100% get what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah. So okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page about that and make sure that
Yes,
was correct.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about how Vicious rizzed Julia?
Did he? Because I thought she left.
Yeah.
Well, but like he slept with her first.
Oh.
How'd he manage that?
he has a sword, bro.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say,
true. Yeah, his epic sword skills.
Do you think
It's
the
either
sword?
sword or consent. You can't have both.
Yeah, true.
Or I mean, do you think the crow was like whispering pickup lines to him in his ear?
Maybe.
Oh, like
I don't know how.
Yeah.
The dude had zero heart.
Hold on.
Not even on Titan.
Not to
His war buddy.
pull us away too far here.
No, go right ahead.
But there was an episode of the esteemed modern classic Richard and Mortimus, where one Richard Sanchez, he befriends some crows and then goes on this adventure as the Crowman.
I have not watched past I think season 3.
I don't know when this was. They all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
But I think that they were trying to be knockoff Vicious.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yes. I was curious if anyone else got the vibe, but if I'm the only beta cook that
No,
was,
Yeah, I
the
have
only
not- I
you
have
mean
not
the only
partaken.
intellectual.
Yes, I have not partaked in or
I
partook
see,
in
yeah.
Richard and Mortimus in quite a while.
I have not.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry
no,
for
it's okay.
derailing.
You're
I know.
good, yeah.
I'm not too giga-brained for that show. I'm
Um,
too smooth for that show.
you have no desire to
Yeah.
suckle the Szechuan sauce. What about the movie? What do we think about the movie?
I might need to default to you two on this one because I have not actually seen the movie in quite a while.
The introduction goes so fucking hard. They're like in a convenience store that they just fucking shoot out.
Yes.
I
remember the
beginning
intro.
and the ending. That's,
Yeah, I remember the intro, but well, luckily for us, there is someone who is distributing the movie.
Mhm.
I won't say who, but they're on a certain website where you can watch videos, and you can watch the whole movie for free.
The music's very good.
I would assume.
Very, very good.
Yes.
It's still the seatbelts for the movie, I'm assuming, right?
It is, yes, but it was
Okay.
years later. I think the movie came out in like 2001.
Okay.
It was after Steve Bloom joined Screen Actors Guild because he did a funny joke where he wrote a thank you letter to David Lucas for voicing Spike in the TV show. But David Lucas was in fact him.
I mean the whole thing with the butterflies at the end of the movie though, I don't recall like all the plot points, but I do remember that hit very hard.
So basically, what I was gonna say is the movie is basically a rehash of a couple other episodes, kind of like bashed together, right?
Okay.
You kind of have this weird combination of the seal episode because it's like, oh, they're gonna release this neurotoxin, everyone's gonna blah 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 blah. With a combination of like the hacker episode where they're like trying to figure out what's going on and who's the culprit and blah blah blah. And if you like, there's some sweats online that have way too much free time, jobless activity, if you will. They have like frame by frame, side by sides where it's like they clearly ripped animation cells from previous parts of the series to make the movie. So it's interesting because it's this like perfectly well contained, like complete story from Bebop, like all tied up in a bow in a movie. You don't need to watch anything else to really get it. But at the same time, like as a part of Cowboy Bebop, it doesn't really add anything to the show.
Sure. Yeah, I think it works as just like a very good like self-contained Bebop episode.
Yes.
You know, so like if like
the
it's-
extended cut, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if I were to go back and watch the entire series from front to beginning, and I had easily accessible
Yeah, right.
viewings of this
Right,
movie,
right,
Absolutely.
right,
I would,
right,
I would
right.
definitely toss it because I think it's supposed to be we just said it earlier in the episode, between
It's
22 and 23.
Something like that, or 23,
Yeah.
24, I can't remember.
Yeah,
That's kind of
so-
like the general consensus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, because Ed is in the movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's before Ed leaves then. So
Yeah.
it's
I think it was
20
right
-ish.
before Ed leaves. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, so I think if I was determined to like do like a completionist watch of Cowboy Bebop, I would have no reservations about turning on the movie, just assuming it's
Yeah.
easily accessible. You know?
Yep.
So the first time I watched everything through, I assumed that the movie took place after the final episode. So I was like, oh my god, he didn't die.
Yeah, 15-year-old me thought the same thing, bud.
So I was like, oh my god, that recontextualizes everything, right? That's when I was Googling Cowboy Bebop 2.
Right.
But knowing what I know now, that it's earlier in the series, it's like, it kind of changes it to be like, this was the last big thing that they did, the four of them, before it left and it kind of unraveled.
And at least it is like in canon, because like most anime movies are just not canon to the main
Right,
storyline.
That's so true, yeah.
Like you'll have these cool epic character developments and growths, and then it just never addressed in the main series. And if it is, they redo it, like Dragon Ball Super. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the first 25 episodes of DBS, dude.
They reanimated the movies to make them canon.
But
When
sometimes
instead
the
they could have just
animation is
referenced the
worse.
movies, they redo
God
it in an
damn.
episode format with worse animation.
Yeah, it's like an entire season of the show is just recap of like the 3 or 4 movies that came out. Yeah.
To make it canon.
Yes.
So, having consumed other media and like even other anime, do you still hold Cowboy Bebop in high regard, or?
Oh, 100%. I think
I do.
it's still one of my favorites. Like, if I'm talking television of all time, like, I know I said it earlier, but like Ballad of
Yeah.
the Fallen Angels, probably
Right.
my favorite episode of television
As a
ever.
show that I would happily rewatch,
Yeah.
it would be on that list.
I have no asterisks.
You're looking like that's a no for you.
Ooh.
You're saying that, you know, with the literacy you've gained through the years and everything else, so you don't see some like glaring plot holes where you're like, oof, you know?
I mean, it's not a perfect show.
Okay.
But
yeah,
where
yeah.
it stands
Right, you
for
could,
me
like-
personally, like
Yeah.
it's just on vibes alone.
Yeah.
I think the show wins out over the majority of TV shows I've
Okay,
watched in
that's
my
fair.
lifetime.
That's
right.
fair. I kind of agree.
And when
That's-
I'm talking about like the top, let's say even like the top 10 episodes that I like, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is incredible, you know.
Yeah.
And I think especially as anime as a whole,
Yeah.
I struggle to find anime that I
really connect with.
really connect with
Yeah.
more than Bebop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're not talking a Flower Boy at 90 scenario here. I think it can still peak in the top 10 for
Okay.
shows.
Okay. I was
Media
curious,
is a
you
whole
know.
different thing because media involves fucking games and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I really struggle because like I have not consumed a lot of anime, and what I have would be only things that you could compare to Cowboy Bebop, right? Like Evangelion, or you know, a couple years later they came out with Black Lagoon. Have either of you watched that?
I am a
Yeah.
Black Lagoon virgin. I hate to tell you.
How
I
do you
haven't-
think that they compare?
I think I wouldn't say they're on the same level.
You would or would not?
I would not.
Okay, I agree. I do not think
Yeah.
so.
So you think Black Lagoon is marginally worse? Or
I wouldn't say
Yes.
I wouldn't say it's like how marginally are we speaking here?
Well, you just a smidge.
Oh,
Just a
okay,
smidge.
yeah.
Like a smidge worse.
Yeah.
It's like Cowboy Bebop. They have this like overarching story that they don't force feed you, that you have to figure out on your
Yeah.
own. That
Sure.
you have. It's very hard to find anywhere else. It's like Black Lagoon is like similar in the fact that they're bounty hunters, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like it's definitely more about the action
Yeah,
than the story.
yeah. Way more sex, drugs, guns, explosions.
Yeah.
Way more explosions.
Okay, so
And
it's
also
more
better
like what,
and also better in English.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, dude.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they just have like some like funny dub lines, or like what are we talking about here?
Basically, you know, comparing the two, Cowboy Bebop is this like subtle. Okay, you know, all right. Cowboy Bebop is the gigantic of animes, right?
Gigantic is a very cool cocktail bar we go to.
You're going there for subtle flavors, for handcrafted cocktails. Like you're going for the vibes. You're willing to pay $18 for a glass, right?
Sure.
Black Lagoon is the Dollarita.
Okay.
It's gonna fucking hit. It's gonna be delicious. But then you're gonna wake up in the morning and like, oh, Oh man! Oh,
Did I drink slop?
all the boobies and drug trading. It's just it's not sitting right.
Okay, I understand the comparison now. Gotcha.
That's right. That's
So
pretty
the
good.
vibes are not similar. They're just
Yeah.
it's a cool bounty hunting show.
Yeah,
Is what,
it's schlock. It's definitely
Yup.
schlock.
oh, okay. All right.
Good. It's high quality schlock. Like an easy 7 or 8 out of 10 schlock. But-
Okay. All right. I respect
But
that.
it's not the 9.5, 9.8 that Cowboy Bebop reaches.
Yeah, it's like I think like, and this is absolutely like nostalgia playing to this too, but like Bebop, Ava, like a lot of those like 90s ish
Yeah.
Toonami era shows of
Yeah,
Rios. Like a lot of those I think still hold up very well today.
I would agree.
Does Bebop rank higher than Eva for you?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
They're both sort of fresh in your mind. I don't know when you rewatched Bebop for this.
So I actually started rewatching Bebop as soon as I finished Eva. So I watched them
Okay.
back to back. And then I started rewatching Bebop again because this is something we've talked about for
almost 2 years. Yeah.
I don't know. I think because of my history with Bebop that I have to rate that more highly because it has more like sentimental value to me.
Yep.
But I think maybe from a story and like a world building standpoint, they're very close.
They are very close. I do agree. Both of their worlds
one
have
or
this
the
sort
other.
of mystique about them that you want to know more, but they just don't tell you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I go to both Ava and Bebop for different reasons.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like Ava, like even though like it is like especially a lot of
It's
stuff that's happening.
cerebral, right?
Yeah,
You
Yes.
can
cerebral.
feel the folds forming.
Yes,
Exactly.
And, like there's a lot of stuff that's happening.
But
Under
what
the
about the
hood in the
dumb
plot.
robot fights?
Yeah.
And the robot fights are great, you know. But like at the same time, we get some very cool like martial arts sequences in Bebop.
Yes.
Yes. So
But
like,
that is like saying I just watch Bebop for the fight scenes.
Right.
yeah, I do think though that like Ava definitely has more of that overarching plot throughout the 26 episodes.
Right.
it has,
Yeah,
I want to say, and like even going to like end of Evangelion and Tyler, I don't know if I told you, but I did watch the Rebuild movies.
I have not yet.
I think have you watched them yet, Josh? Or no?
No.
I get the ick because they added a character for some fucking reason.
Yeah, and I don't like the Rebuild movies as much. They change a lot of things, which I think is cool, but it's alternate timeline shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I go to them for different things, but I think Bebop, at least on a personal level, like I think I will go back and be like, yeah, this is like my show. Ava I love, but
I think Bebop birthed something in me where I was like, that anime could be more than just like ecchi harem shows, right?
yes,
Like
Yes.
I think it was like the 5th or 6th like show that I'd ever watched, right?
Mhm.
And like in comparison to the things I'd watched previously, it was incomparable, right? Like it was like demonstratively better than anything I'd ever seen before, anime or not, right?
Mhm.
And it kind of set me up to watch something like Eva or Clannad, where it's like these really slow burns where you're really watching these characters develop, and it's like episode to episode, nothing's going to fucking happen. And
But you stay for the characters.
you stay for the characters and for like the overarching story that you only get
Right.
if you watch all 56 episodes. And I think that was something important for me. It also changed my relationship with media, where it's like instead of just watching whatever, I would only watch things that are like highly rated, highly regarded. Like I'm going to like get some media literacy folds, some Sulkai, if you will, if I consume this media.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and me and Josh talk about dumb anime fights quite frequently, in like the stuff that makes me pog and go, let's fucking go. It's like I still enjoy a lot of that,
Let's
right?
go.
Like I still really like my Devil May Cry.
when the brain can just sit back.
Yeah, I go monkey mode and I'm like, wow,
Right.
these fight scenes are sick, right?
You mean Infinite Stratos?
I've actually never seen Infinite Stratos.
Infinite Stratos
So-
is like dragging your mouse on your desktop, making a box.
So say if you turned off your brain, right? How would you describe Evangelion? You'd be like, oh, it's a bunch of people and they're fighting robots.
If I turn off my brain to watch Evangelion, I think I would turn off Evangelion. I'm gonna be honest.
That's fair.
Like
That's fair.
the show's way too cerebral, I think.
But
to-
the way that the community describes it, like, oh, it's a bunch of robots fighting and everyone's sexy and they're this like super mega 4-way relationship
Actually,
for Shinji.
On that note, when we were in Boston for Charlie's bachelor party, I picked up. I didn't actually pick up, but like we were in Newberry Comics and I opened up there was an Ava art book.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna go to fucking jail, bro. It's so bad. Because it's all these because again all the girls in Ava are like 15 and it's like
Right.
I felt like I picked up a fucking sticky edition of Playboy, bro.
Ew.
I was
But if Strauss is like that, but it's actually that there's no story going on in the
there's
background.
no
It's
subtext.
just fucking
Okay.
robots and boobs. Yeah.
It is literally like you are the only guy in an all-girl school, and only the girls can drive robots, but you can drive.
And
This
here's your
robot.
options. You
Oh.
have the village girl you grew up with. You have the French girl, the Italian girl,
The German
your
girl.
sister. Don't forget
The
that
China-
one.
yeah.
yes,
The
yes,
German girl, the Chinese girl.
The other teacher who's your sister's friend that you also grew up with. You
Yo.
know.
Damn. Okay. Understood. Yeah. See, for me, it's like if we're talking like big dumb anime that I just really like is Gurren Lagann.
Oh yeah,
Because there
that's
is
fair.
nothing more.
But that has too much character development.
That
There's too much
Well, I
value
think
in
that's
that.
part of the reason why I
Right.
like it too, because you finally see Simone at the end of the series.
Yeah.
You're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like you're fucking like spiking a beer bottle on your living room floor.
it
You're like,
still-
let's go, let's go.
Listen, it still hits to this day. I saw
It's great.
the movies played in theaters, and people still cried during specific moments.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like going back to 13-year-old Jared googling Noble 6 survived Reach.
How to
Like-
survive final level in Halo Reach.
But yeah, so like, at the end of Gurren Lagann, like that final episode where they're just kind of like wrapping up everything. We're like, what's the girl's Nina, right? Yeah. Nia, right? Yeah. So like their wedding and everything, and like Nia disappearing and all that, like. And then you do like the flash forward and you see the younger kids that are now the mech pilots and everything, and you just see Simone being this old guy on the beach. I'm like, I'm not ready to accept that. I'm not ready to accept that.
Is there like an alternate cut that the Americans left out?
I believe they have been fighting the spiral for 50 years. The anti-spiral. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, but I definitely agree with Tyler where it's like I feel like Bebop elevated a lot of anime for me. Still to this day, like I really don't watch a whole ton of anime. Like there's a lot of the classics that like I've watched, right? Just because I feel like I'm kind of like checking off a list. But Bebop is just something that I'm like, oh, this is just fantastic, like a fantastic story, right?
It's a treat every time you go back and watch it.
Yeah. So
It doesn't feel like a chore.
100%. Yeah. Is there anything else that you like any other series that like you've seen, anime or not, that like you feel like, oh yeah, this is like changed something, like you feel like it's like elevated?
That's a great question. I have such a bad memory that I feel like I can't do it justice.
Okay.
Because it's so hard to like think of something to be like, oh, that's the spice right there.
Yeah, that's my thing. Okay. I have a couple if you don't mind. Would that be
Go right ahead.
Okay, and I'll let
I
you-
might be able to jump
yeah,
off
yeah,
of it.
Yeah, you can let that marinate.
Yes.
So for me, like Better Call Saul was one of those that I watched. Where like I watched Breaking Bad. Obviously, I was like, oh, this is great television. Like awesome, like great story. It's more of a crime story, right?
Yeah.
But then when I watched Better Call Saul, right after I watched Breaking Bad, I was like, holy shit. I was like, because
Did it make Breaking Bad better for you?
yeah, it made Breaking Bad not only better, but it also made Better Call Saul probably like my favorite like TV show of all time. Especially like watching like all the way up to season 6 of that too. Like Ballad of Fallen Angels is probably my favorite TV episode ever.
Yep.
And then the exit episode of Better Call Saul is probably number 2 right there.
I think the only thing that I would like put on a pedestal next to Cowboy Bebop would be the original Blade Runner.
See, that's tough for me because I feel like 2049 is a better movie.
Haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, we gotta change.
I
that.
would actually have to agree with Jared.
What?
Even watching like the fucking like director mega super duper cut, the actual version you're supposed to watch for the original
Yeah.
Blade Runner,
Mhm.
I do think that 2049 is just a better movie.
My mindset though is that the original I haven't not seen the second one, right? I
Yep,
don't know
yep.
about it, but the original Blade Runner was fucking full of plot holes, and it was it was cool for cool sake, and there was this incredible world building where they showed you just enough where you're like, I want to know more, and I
Right.
kind of want to like get a little bit more of this understanding. Very similar to Bebop, right?
Yes, for sure.
And I love that like gripping. It's almost like what do they call it? Like not a cerebral, but like a neurological thriller or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Like a noir.
Yes.
It's very noir. Yeah, the
Yes.
noir influences
Yes.
are
Yes.
very
It
much
tells
prominent.
you just enough to get you interested, but not enough where you're like, oh, I've gotten my fill of it.
Yeah, I definitely think that if you like Blade Runner for all those reasons, I think 2049 you will enjoy even more, because I think it just like how we were just saying how like certain stuff like elevates stuff that you've previously seen. Like 2049 absolutely makes the original Blade Runner better, I think.
You would probably like Ghost in the Shell.
I don't know how to watch it. There's so many fucking.
I know. There's like,
It's like
director's
movies
cut,
and TV
extended
shows,
cut.
and it's like I don't know where to start because I would love to. I've seen like clips of it. And I was like, oh man, this looks really interesting. It reminds me a lot of Bebop.
Because that is cerebral.
Cerebral. That's the word I was looking for.
Cerebral. Yes. So there's the movie, and then I believe the second movie is called like Innocence or whatever. But then there's Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, which is the TV show.
So, but you have to watch the movies first.
It's called Standalone Complex because it stands on its own.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. But the two movies, they are related to each other.
This is the hard part of watching like anime. Is it's cerebral just trying to figure out the fucking watch order for some of these things.
Right. Right. Like
God damn, dude.
Like that makes sense. That's kind of like comics in a way. Where it's like,
100%.
where do I start? Where do I start? Spider-Man #1 from 2006 or Spider-Man #1 from 2015?
Yeah, that's 100%.
Like
I'm getting a
will-
glioblastoma over here
Right.
just trying to fucking think of this.
Manga will be like, just start at volume 1, bro.
Yeah.
But then anime will be like, do I watch this series or
The
this
rebuild,
one?
the rebuild,
the director's cut.
For the record, now that I've watched it, the names for the rebuild movies for Ava are dumb, but they're not as insane as you might think.
What do you mean 3.331?
Yeah, okay, so there's 4, right? It's like 1.0, 2.2, 3.3 in that order. Then it's 3.03 plus 1.01 is the 4th one. So there's only one that's like really fucky at the end.
Yo.
Like, I'm probably getting the numbers wrong, but I'm fucking
So,
close.
like, you know, I think it's important to contextualize, right? So, like, when I said I watched Bebop, I think either the next thing or the thing I watched right before it was the original Sword Art Online.
That's tough.
So, like, how...
I have a soft spot for it. All right?
I do, too.
It's a guilty pleasure.
It is.
The first season of Sword Art Online is kind of like a soft spot guilty pleasure for me.
Damn.
That's what I was going to ask is, like, how do you mentally kind of grapple with these shows that you grew up on, right? Where it's like, maybe you sat through 150 episodes or something, and now you're like, I cannot believe I threw away fucking 80 hours of my life watching this.
Oh, let me introduce you to watching every single episode of the original fucking Naruto, dude. That show, especially as a 26-year-old man, I can say this finally. That show sucks, dude. 75% of that show is filler, and it's not even good filler. It's just like Naruto eats ramen for 25 minutes. Have fun.
Naruto eats ramen for
So
25 minutes.
fucking blows.
Naruto thinks about how sad he was as a kid. He's sitting on a tire. They lost Sasuke again.
Yeah, listen. So the original Naruto is like 350. This is before Shippuden. The original Naruto is like 350 episodes.
My God.
Yeah, but then there's a time skip with also like 350 episodes.
Yeah. Shippuden is also like 350 episodes. The original series, because I never actually finished Shippuden. I'm gonna be honest.
I never even finished the original, bro. You want to know where I left off? It was like Sasuke retrieval arc.
The first, the first one, or what? The
first
near
one,
the end.
bro.
Oh shit! Yeah, so that was a while.
I didn't even finish the original Naruto.
There was probably, Tyler, when I tell you that there's 350 episodes in the base Naruto show, there is probably less than 100 episodes that are actually plot relevant. And it, like I felt this like, and I fell out of Bleach too, and that's why I've never finished Bleach, because it's also like a mammoth, like 300 episodes, and there's entire arcs of filler.
You know me, Jared. Just like I say fighting game bad, movie bad, I also say shonen bad.
Shonen, some shonen kind of hits, right? But you need that little extra spice, right?
Right.
It's like Chainsaw Man, which is probably the most recent example of this. You watch, and there is like the shonen type of fights in there, but there's so many extra layers on a conceptual level with like whether how the power system works, or even just kind of like the overall mystery of like who the actual bad guy is.
Yeah.
Like and also if you're reading manga, I feel like it's a lot more painless to get through, a lot more painless to get through a series or like an arc that you don't think is as good, because reading, you're done in like reading a chapter of an anime of a manga rather takes 10 minutes. Right. Watching an episode or watching an entire arc that you take, we're talking 10 hours. Right. Like
you're thinking of something completely different, Tyler. Like there's shonens and then there's battle shonens.
Yes.
Those are the One Pieces, the Narutos, the Bleaches, the Fairy Tales, the Dragon Ball Zs.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are let's fight a guy for 5 episodes straight.
Yeah, it couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Don't get me, like fucking 13-year-old lizard brain, they'll love that shit.
So when I asked the question, I meant more specifically. It's like, there are some shows that are like really near and dear to me that like mean a lot to me, where I am scared shitless to go back and rewatch them because I'm like, I don't want to lose what this meant to me. Even though now I'd be like, this fucking schlock fest, like.
Oh, that's tough. Oh,
like Waiting in That Summer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was like very meaningful to me. I really enjoyed it. Like I definitely cried for some of the parts, but now I'm like, it was probably fingernail deep, and it was not that interesting.
I watch it all the way through every time I rewatch it.
But that's my fears. I would watch it all the way through, and then it wouldn't hit. It would not hit.
Like it's so embarrassing for me. I've probably watched it like 3 times.
It's so good, but I say that fully knowing that I could not bring myself to rewatch it.
Yeah, you'll see a part and you'll be like,
like have you
that could have been deeper.
Watched Nichijou?
I can't say I have.
No. Is that the one where she like suplexes a deer?
Yes.
The teacher
the principal,
suplexes the
principal. It is like universally known as like the slice of life anime. It's like one of the best. It's like the one that everyone points their finger to. Mm-hmm. If they're not pointing their finger to Lucky Star. And I loved it. It was so fun. I'm afraid if I went back and rewatched it, it wouldn't be as funny as I remember it being. Right? Like, I feel like the memory of it is more meaningful than the actual show itself.
No, I 100% get that. I'm trying to think what other...
Which I think is part of the reason I say that Cowboy Bebop is so good, because it is beaten that stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Beaten the allegations, you could say.
Yeah. Oh, no, Kill la Kill is an anime that...
Never seen it.
Yeah, like Kill la Kill is an anime where I'm like, now that I am an adult, I'm like, listen, I remember this thing being the coolest shit in the world. Now that I am a married man, I don't think I could watch an anime about where clothes are evil and you need to shed your clothes. Like, I don't know. Josh, give me a look for that, man. I don't know.
Listen, the guys get naked too.
The guys, no, equal opportunity nudeness. Like,
I'm gonna that dude that doesn't like us. He's really not gonna like us after I say this.
Oh,
are you familiar with?
I hope he made it this far.
The bread tuber H Bomber guy.
I'm aware of H Bomber guy. I watched one of the new copyright thing he did.
Like, he was back. Like the copyright guy, right?
Did you watch his episode on Kill la Kill?
No.
So it's very, very, very interesting. So he is like the if you're red pilled, right, you'd be like, he is the definitive, like, he's the prototype for the soy boy, right?
Yeah.
Which he has an episode on, to be clear of, because he went on an all soy diet for like months to prove that was bullshit. Anyways, he loved Kill la Kill, and despite being someone who's like very progressive and like is very like in tune with secretly offensive things, right?
Sure.
His whole thing is like, it's not that at all, and like you can read it as an adult and like actually earn some interesting like concepts from it, right? Like about like sexual freedom and all those other things.
That I still 100% get. Like, yeah. I don't.
So
think
I'm saying it is not as schlocky as you think it is. I think it has some value as an artistic read.
No, it's not. I think just my patience for certain things has gotten low over the years.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a schlocky show. And actually, when you're talking about like sexual freedom and stuff like that, like, I think there's actually a lot to be said that Kill la Kill actually does a very good job at. But I don't want to sit through like 25, 30 episodes, whatever it is, of half-naked anime girls fighting to get through that. So that's where I'm at, like, personally. I don't have anything against the show.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. That's like, I don't think I could ever rewatch DxD. I don't think that there's any artistic value.
Okay, I will say, I'm going to get on my little soapbox here. I said that show was garbage from like day one, dude.
Listen, I've never finished it either, so don't look at me.
No, I'm not... It's more of a general look.
Exactly. I was an Infinite Stratos boy, where all the DxD little kitties were Santa. I was a gentleman Infinite Stratos man. where all the other Goo Goo Gaga babies were sitting around their laptop
I remember
with the giant titty lasers from DxD, and I'm over here in the corner watching the OVA
With the
where
robots with the big titties.
with the robots with the big titties, where it's the OVA and they go to the summer festival. All right.
Yeah, I watched my thing where my moral high ground was like, yeah, I'm not watching just fan service, and then I was like, Code Geass only has one nude scene in the entire film. You know, it actually for the record, Code Geass isn't that bad, but like it's but there's definitely like comics that I've read before.
Yeah.
Or even games too, where it's like I know if I go back, I will not like this as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would like tarnish that memory. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything particular to add to our Cowboy Bebop discussion?
I think that's about that. Unless you guys have anything else to add, do you want to move on to pick of the week?
Yeah.
Let's wrap this
I'm ready
bad
to get
boy
picking.
All right. Do you have a pick you're ready for, Tyler?
I am. So I've recently, as we discussed earlier, I've really tried to improve my cocktail constructing skills. And my thing for the summer is I'm trying to become a tiki man. I'm Trader Tyler over here.
Ooh.
And there's this very small YouTuber. I think he has like less than 10,000 subscribers. It's called Make and Drink. And he specializes in tiki cocktails. And he not only talks about like the cocktail itself and how to make it, but also like if you can't find this hard to find ingredient, this is what you'd replace it with. And like he talks about like the historical context of it, which is cool because like tiki goes all the way back to like the 30s and 40s. He recently did like a 40-minute documentary on the history of the Mai Tai that was scrumptious. Definitely would recommend. Definitely go give him a like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay.
So Tiki Tyler will be heading your way.
And what was the YouTuber's name?
Make and Drink.
Make and Drink.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and as someone who has had a few of your tiki drinks over the past couple weeks, they have been scrumptious.
Thank you. You can thank him too.
They're delicious.
The virgin versions too, as well.
Josh, how about you? What you got?
My pick of the week is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Tyler's nodding his head. He's like, "Oh yes, I'm a big movie fan."
Yes,
right?
indubitably.
Tyler, the movie man.
I love movies.
I stand by this thought that there is not a single bad movie in this rebooted franchise.
I mean, from the three that I've seen, I do agree with you.
At least someone's on my side.
No, 100%. I think the Matt Reeves, or actually Matt, he only did the last two.
I've seen none of them, and I can't agree more that it's the best one. Definitely.
Yeah, hell
by
yeah.
far.
I wouldn't say it's the best one, but it's still none of them are bad.
Right. Yeah.
And also, they must have really made sure the sweatshop workers doing the CGI was doing a really good job because it looks great as a movie.
Okay. Yeah, the two like lead actors, and I think the apes. So Proximus is the bad guy, and I think Noah is the name of like the lead.
Noah is the new main character for this new like trilogy.
Oh, okay, yeah. But if you've seen the interviews, we were talking about a little bit before of them just like snapping into character.
Right, ape mode.
They go ape mode, dude. It's great. I love it. Yeah. No. So out of like 10, how are you ranking this one right now?
I think. Well, let me check my Letterboxd.
Oh, dude, yeah, I haven't been on Letterboxd in a bit.
Let me check my Letterboxd. The new fad. I believe I gave it a pretty good score. Your wife just watched a movie.
Oh yeah, she did, didn't she?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay. All right. Hey, that's a solid score right there.
Right. I think the only one that gets an extra half is the second movie.
The second one was baller. Yeah. Actually, fun fact: the guy that directed this movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, he's doing the live-action Zelda movie.
Right.
Which I have mixed feelings on that, but
right. But just because you made a banger doesn't mean you're always gonna make bangers.
Yeah.
Speaking of video game media,
what you got?
Has anyone watched Fallout yet?
I haven't, but
yes,
yeah.
I have.
What do you think?
I thought it was fantastic.
I was gonna say it's pretty good.
I'm surprised you watched it.
What do you mean?
I don't know. You're not a movie guy, so I didn't think
That's
you were
not
like a video game TV guy.
It looked pretty good, and I like Fallout.
Huh.
Yeah, I've been told that Walter Goggins is like a standout in that, right?
So fucking
His
good.
name's Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins. I'm sorry.
He does a
the
fantastic
jewel,
job.
if you will.
Yes, he does a fantastic job. And honestly, Jared, I think you would like Fallout because Fallout does have like the world building in Fallout is very good.
Yeah.
No, for the record, I haven't not watched it for any specific reason. I just
He just
watching
hasn't
other
consumed
stuff.
yet.
Yeah, I haven't
Jared
consumed
just
yet.
isn't subscribed to Amazon Prime.
No, I am. I 100% am.
Well, the soy boy comments are gonna
Yep.
be ripe. There's
Yeah,
3
my daddy
Prime
Bezos.
consumers.
Yeah.
No, yeah, my pick of the week this week, because I just watched them this morning.
Oh.
I'm officially dating this episode. The first 2 episodes of season 2 of My Adventures with Superman came out today.
Oh.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if you want to make Superman palatable to Zoomers, you make it a battle shonen. Okay, because that is all that the show is. You take like one big Superman rogue from like every episode. You have him fight them, and in the meantime, you have the romance between him and Lois blossom, and it's brilliant. It's the animation's incredible. It has like the anime-esque style. It's airing on Adult Swim. Voice acting is all great. Yeah, I mean, Josh,
Jack Quaid from The Boys is Superman.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You have not seen The Boys?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so
Looks
Josh,
pretty schlocky, so I never consumed it.
It's actually a pretty good show.
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah, the boys are surprisingly good.
Yeah.
The comic is garb. I can make a whole video
Yes,
on that.
absolutely.
Like, comic
I
is
always
garbage.
assumed
agree
it
with
was like
Jared.
offensively dudeish from the like what I've seen. So
No,
I just never
offensively dudeish is the comic, dude.
Yeah. The comic. I cannot repeat a lot of the things from the comic that I want to tell you about on podcasts. I can tell you after. But yeah, the show is infinitesimally better than the comic. But yeah, no, My Adventures of Superman, season 1 was pretty great, and season 2 is off to a very strong start as well.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, honestly, I was going on HBO this morning to watch the new episode of Smiling Friends, and I was like, oh, this came out.
How many? Do we know how many episodes is going to be in Smiling Friends? Because I'm going to wait and binge it all at once, and I
Probably
can't
8
wait
to-
much longer.
Yeah, probably 8 to 10. right?
Okay.
8 to 10 is
Okay.
usually.
And they're so short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all quality, though.
I know. No
true.
filler.
No filler.
I just wanted my cheese.
I will say, though, out of like the 4 that are out,
Yeah.
episode 2 is probably the weakest.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
That one's definitely like a skipper.
What do you think is the weakest of the original run?
I was going to say the episode 2 of season 2 is probably the worst one so far. I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest.
From season 1?
I'm pulling up Max right now so I can look at all the episodes.
Right.
titles.
Let's keep this pod going for as long as possible.
Yeah. We could. We're not on a time limit. We're fine. Before I'm looking at the rest of the episodes here, I tentatively almost want to say the one where Charlie dies, and it's not.
I was
even a
saying, I
bad-
hate that episode. That was the episode I was going to say.
I don't even think it's a bad
What?
episode, to be honest with you. I just
Come
think
on, he's like, did you leave the straw in the bag? Oh, he didn't, of course. he's already gone.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through I'm gonna go through the season 1 episodes title, and if you think it's a stinker, just speak out, okay? Desmond's Big Day Out, episode 1 with the red.
Good. Really
That's a good one.
Great episode. Mr. Frog, come on,
Goated.
can't go wrong with Mr. Frog. Shrimp's Odyssey,
Incredible.
Amazing.
eventually
Incredible.
a silly Halloween special.
Little
You
weaker.
don't like the
Little
Enchanted
weaker.
Forest one?
No.
What?
Wait, no,
That's not the Enchanted Forest one. That's the one where he just goes in the fucking woods.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Halloween
silly
special is Pim.
Yeah, Halloween special is the one with the blackface demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not blackface. I'm literally a forest demon.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. A little weaker.
Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. So
Enchanted Forest is the
Enchanted
best
Forest is
one.
the one with Mip.
Good. I like that one. Yeah.
That one's probably
Um,
one of the better
Who
ones.
violently murdered Simon S. Salty? That's a great
Good
episode.
one. Good one.
That's a great episode.
I have an incredible drug problem. I keep shitting my pants.
Frowning Friends is incredible. Love that
Incredible.
one too.
Yeah.
Charlie dies and doesn't come back. That is potentially the worst in season 1. Not that it's even
I really
bad.
didn't like it. Yeah.
Because I think having angry video game nerd is fucking Satan is pretty funny, and the other guy that guy.
Only source of hellish entertainment.
Well, it's specifically the sound that he makes when he gets
Yes.
punched.
Yeah.
It's like, and then Smiling Friends goes to Brazil. Which is,
Are you a tourist?
Are you a tourist?
Tourist?
Who's
Cash.
gonna punch me?
Cash.
Give me cash.
Great. So far for season 2, we have Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Edition.
Fantastic.
I've seen it at least 4 times all the way through on
Yes.
TikTok. You know, parts 1 through 97.
It's still really funny.
Pretty great. Pretty great.
I love when the mic peaks.
If I had my Gwimbly gun on me. Yeah, Mr. President.
That one's a snoozer.
That
dude.
I think actually might be the worst episode in the series so far.
In the whole series,
In the
I
whole
agree.
series, yeah.
Not to get your hopes down, but you can see it for yourself.
but the most recent two, as of recording here, are episode 3 in Allen Adventure. Incredible. One of the best ones for sure. And then the one that came out today is basically another Halloween special. Its title is The Boss Finds Love. So it's the boss's wedding, and I'm not going to spoil anything because you guys haven't seen it yet, but it's hilarious. So Smiling Friends is off to a great start. Can that be the group's pick of the week?
Sure, that can be the group's
It's
pick of the
a
week.
communal pick of the week.
Exactly.
Yeah, Smiling Friends, great show.
I guess this is just a note for Tyler and I, since we were probably the only ones that have made it this far. That let's wish everyone a damn good one.
Let's have a damn good one, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see you next week for more terrible audio quality and soy opinions, okay?
Oh, and we're an overall terrible podcast. Can't forget
Yup.
that.